To the March meeting. It's like almost have the whole board. That's exciting because I know it's been a tough winter and stuff like that. With
Yeah, we
people
haven't
traveling.
seen you in a couple of weeks.
I know.
a couple
Yeah,
months,
I missed
right?
last week, and last one would have been my birthday too because I would have been like cheering on my birthday.
Happy birthday, man.
But I was actually at a work outings like in Albuquerque, so
That's no
it's
fun.
kind of weird. But yeah.
We must have the same birthday then, Doug.
What?
What?
Really?
Yeah, because I cheered on my birthday last month.
On the 25th?
Yeah.
Stop it.
Wow, you're only like the third person I've met.
Birthday buddies.
Wow, that must be a
crazy.
special day. Wow. Great. We do have some visitors today, so unless there's an objection, I was going to shift the agenda around a little bit and start with the what number is it? 5A?
5B.
5B, the library story walk. We have Lion here to give us a presentation on his project. So welcome.
Oh,
And I can put this up if you want to walk us through. It's kind of a weird, because I don't have PowerPoint on my computer.
Is it easier for you to sit or stand there?
I'm good to stand here.
Okay.
I can see, so I can see down there
Yeah.
where you are.
Yeah, that's about as big as it gets. So yep, the floor is
I
yours.
see it. I see it. All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Liam Lyon. I am 16 years old, and I am currently a Life Scout in Troop 107, working towards my Eagle. So a big part of the Eagle, trail and getting to the actual rank is undergoing an Eagle project, which is something that helps your community and serves as a benefit to them in some way. For me, I'm trying to do a storybook trail on the trail behind the library. Next slide, please.
Oops.
Oh, back. I think it's back one. There you go.
Thank you.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. So the storybook trail is going to consist of approximately 16 weatherproof podiums, and they will sit along the length of Cassie Brown's recently constructed Eagle Trail, which sits entirely on Lot 89 of town land. The attached podiums will each contain individual pages of a children's book, and so it allows kids to walk along the trail and enjoy nature and be able to read a book along the way. Next slide, please. So a storybook trail, I kind of already summed it up before. It's basically it's a set of posts. For mine, it's going to be 16 that have a similar design to this one up here. And it's going to each contain around 2 pages of a children's storybook. It's a good way, the posts are positioned approximately equidistant and in a way that allows kids to read them without needing to stand up or get on a step stool or anything. And it's a really good way to encourage literacy in younger kids and help them get out and enjoy nature in a more educational way. So some benefits of the addition: it will serve as an addition to the services already provided by the library. It might also bring some more attention to the trail that's behind the library as well. It's in a lot more of a convenient location than other trails in town. So there's actually 2 others. There's, I believe, one behind North Street Elementary, and there's one on Williamsburg's Preserve on Brigham Hill. But those are in a lot less central locations compared to what this would be. It's also a good opportunity for young kids to get outside, enjoy nature, go on a walk, and have an educational distraction along the way. So I have 2 pictures of books up here that I read when I was a kid. I thought they were really good, and they both have a nice connection with nature and learning how to, enjoy yourself while being short enough that a kid can read them without getting too bored. For the location, all of the construction, as I said before, is on Town Lot 89. Each podium is positioned approximately 145 feet from each other, so as to make it so it's not too far or too short. There's not going to be any significant modifications to the trail, and everything's pretty much going to stay as it will be. Up above, there's some proposed locations of kind of where they would end up being, so it's all approximately equally distant from each other. It's all subject to change based on whatever's the easiest location to actually plant the physical trail posts, but yeah. So this is kind of like the main reason I'm coming here tonight. Maintenance. So the posts are designed for outdoor use and thus do not require any maintenance. However, there is the caveat that the only regular maintenance would be the replacement of the book. So for the actual replacement of the book, I was hoping that the library or the friends of the library would be able to take on this opportunity. I have a slide after this that talks about what that would actually entail. And if not, I can work something out with my troop or another organization in town, and that's totally okay. So this is kind of a design of kind of what the physical podiums would look like. Just a quick little schematic.
Is there, so there's, would you say 16 of them?
There's 16 of them.
But that's one book. It's like
It's one book,
different
so
pages
it's kind
the
of
book.
yeah. I have a slide next that kind of
okay.
describes it a little bit more. So in terms of replacing it, all you need is 2 copies of the same book, of a same children's book. You take the pages out, you laminate them, and then you walk through the trail. And in each post, it's 3 wing nuts. You don't need any special power tools or anything. You screw them off, lift up the old previous book, pull out the previous pages, and put the new ones in. In order to, the whole point of it is really just to make sure the book is refreshed, and sometimes over time the UV can wear out the pages of the book, but the posts are in a stable enough condition where they don't need any sort of like replacement of anything. So the only thing is really every 6 months coming in, putting in new pages.
Is
Or
6 months
for-
like the time where like
That's just kind of a general like estimate. I've heard a bunch of different numbers, but depending on like the weather and stuff, the pages can last a year or 2. But after around 6 months, it's better to cycle the pages because so then kids can come back and get a different story each time.
Or even more frequently.
Yeah, or more
know?
frequently.
Like, and maybe with the different seasons.
Yeah,
or
different seasons, that would also
holidays or
work.
that.
Yeah. Next slide, please. So yeah, for the budget, all the funding and donations are handled by me. The town has offered or is in the process of offering to cover some of the cost, and the total cost of construction is around $1,200. These are just a list of some of the materials. So all of it is like pressure treated lumber, some plywood sheets, polycarbonate, driving stakes. So the fence, so you don't need to actually drill any holes in the ground. It's just driving them straight in, and you don't need to have any sort of like concrete or loud machines. But all of this stuff is rated to last 15 plus years. So this is a really permanent fixture. I don't know if you guys ever seen the one on Brigham Hill, but I'm not talking about the more recent one, but the older one that's just straight like fence posts and then piece of plywood. This is gonna last significantly longer than that was. So yeah. Next slide, please. As for my timeline for this project, my goal is to get this underway during the summer. Once I have all the necessary approvals, it should only take about a month of actual construction to finish, with only like 2 or 3 days of actually being out there and taking any sort of construction time. The goal is really to finish by the end of this, or by the start of the school year, I'm sorry. And the majority of the work would probably be between July and August.
What are the necessary approvals? Just like
The necessary approvals, I've already got approval from the select board last night, so I have their their approval, and then you guys, I need your approval as well, and I have to talk to my like Boy Scout council in order to actually get them to approve the project as a whole. But once that happens, that I'm good to go. Everything else is good.
So the picture that you have here on the timeline, the example, like, would it look really just like that, or like is that like somebody else's?
This is somebody else's. These are examples. If you go back to like one of the first slides, I think, like the second slide. There, that one. There you go. That's pretty much exactly what mine would look like.
Okay.
So it's got just a nice post. It's
It has a
not
number on
destructive. The numbers, and then you got the nice sheet, and the books are able to just clearly be able to be read.
They're small.
Yeah.
Why do you need 2 copies of the book?
Because since
two
it's 2
pages.
pages.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah,
You need
of
the
course.
front and the
Yeah,
back.
front and back. Yeah, they do print on both sides, don't they?
Yeah. So
Well, I just want to say thank you. Like, this is such an exciting project. I think it really would add a tremendous amount of value, and it's really the perfect tie-in. Like, you couldn't really pick a better place to have this, and hopefully it'll encourage kids after they do their nature walk or before to come in the library and check out the children's room and maybe their parents or
Yeah.
friends or whatever too. So yeah, this is really nice.
that was
project.
my idea with the whole project being in that location specifically.
Yeah,
So,
very,
yeah.
very good.
Katrina, what is your thoughts? Because in terms of like, if we see if it's the friends versus library staff, like, is this something that the children's room staff is excited about and want to take on and do as part of their programming, or do you have any thoughts from like a director's standpoint?
So it
is not something that I necessarily would want to have the children's staff take over because they're already
They're busy.
kind of busy. That being said, I've done these before at previous libraries, and it doesn't take a great deal of time, so it's something that I would love to take on personally. And additionally, we don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel because our network provides pre-existing story walks that we can just borrow for a period of time and swap out as needed.
Yeah,
It would be something that's relatively easily managed. Also, I do think that the friends would be interested in.
Yeah, I would be willing to take it to the friends,
That would be
and if I would be shocked if they weren't interested, but if they weren't, I personally would be interested in helping and volunteering to do it because I think it's
Especially if there's no requirements in terms of the time frames in which we need to switch them out.
yeah. I mean, it seems like even if it's 4 times a year, 3, 4, 5 times a year, it's an hour or two at the most.
Not even. The trail's only like
Right.
0.4 miles long.
Yeah,
so
I've
it's
walked that
really
trail a couple times.
quick walk.
So,
Aaron.
nice job, Liam.
Thank you.
I really like this idea. So was this kind of born out of some suggestions, or where did you come up with the idea?
So I was sitting around, like when I was younger, I live right near Brigham Hill. So when I was younger, I went around the one on Brigham Hill quite often, and I really enjoyed it personally. I thought it was just really cool. And so then when I was sitting down thinking of ideas for what to do for my eco project, because that's like a big question. This is a big thing that I have to do, or not have to, but I'm get to do. So I was sitting down and I was thinking about it, and my mom actually suggested, what about a storybook trail? I thought about it. I was thinking about how much I really enjoyed it when I was younger, and how much I just really liked going outside and reading the book. And I thought it would be a really cool thing. So I looked at a couple different locations, and eventually I settled on here as a place that I think would be pretty perfect to do it at. So yeah.
Okay. What's
Great.
what's the current status of the trail, and would there be any sort of I'm not saying a large trail cleanup, but when you're going to be putting a new amenity there, is there any sort of cleanup kind of planned as well? Because you want your project to also shine, right, and not have a trail that's not really clean.
I took a quick walk around some parts of the trail. I don't think I went through the whole thing. I went like halfway through, and it was right after it had rained, so it was pretty muddy. But it looked in pretty fair shape. So I mean, as we're going through, I'm sure if there's a big plant or a log in the way, we'll move it out of the way as like part of it. And if there's some like giant overgrown thing, I'm sure it's not going to be much of an issue to just clip it, move it out of the way.
Yeah.
But there shouldn't need to be any significant like cleanup project done.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it was only like a year or two ago that Cassie did it,
It's
right? Like
pretty
it's not-
recent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the trailhead tends to get more overgrown though.
Yeah, I've been on it a couple times. It's pretty overgrown, but
Yeah,
Who maintains it?
no one.
no one.
The next Eagle project?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the idea is that people would get a lot more use out of it, and I think with Liam's
Actually,
project,
Yeah,
this
that's-
project.
that was-
should-
That
Yeah,
would
hopefully
certainly work,
naturally, like,
you know, wear it down and.
I'm sure it won't be any issue to just quickly, before we go in, clear out the trailhead, make sure there's nothing in the way that's too gnarly. But yeah.
Yeah. Like I
Right.
say, the only thing that it makes me think of, right, is we like obviously there's groups who want to upkeep the storybook. I just want to make sure that like it starts getting overgrown or they're poison ivy and stuff. Like at that point, like I don't know if it would be fair to ask the friends or employees to go and do that. But as long as it's like manageable to get through,
Yeah, it seems like an opportunity for some other volunteer, whether it's the friends or one of the troops that come in there, once or twice a year or something.
Yeah.
I could-
To be honest, like, even if somebody doesn't update the story or even not put a story out, I still think it's a nice amenity for us to have, whether we use it or not. Right?
No, it's a great idea.
So-
no, I think it's a really great one. I just want to make
Sure.
sure that like
Yeah.
we now don't end up having to keep the trail clean because
No,
we're
we're,
updating
there's
the
no
story.
obligation.
I'm just thinking
to us. We
worst
want
case,
to.
like
Yeah.
we don't use it,
Yeah,
you know,
that's true.
right?
Yep.
And there's no harm, no foul.
I agree.
So you mentioned that the town might be giving some of the funding. It was about the cost you're estimating is about $1,200.
Yes.
Were they going to fund most of it or all of it? Are you looking
I
for
didn't get.
additional funding?
I met with them last night, and I asked if they would donate towards the cause at all. And they made Mr. Broussard indicated that he would be willing to pitch some in, maybe match or do something like that. So it's gonna vary, but all the donations, it's gonna all be funded from either the town's budget and like my personal like donations and fundraising as well. So.
Right?
So I think this is a great project. I was watching the select board meeting last night, Liam, and so I'm getting to see you twice in 24 hours. So once in my living room and now here. And last night, and I think I'm going to sound like a broken record, what an amazing young guy. And his parents are there, and that doesn't happen by accident. So as I said last night, you are the future, and it's great to see someone, I guess, so young, this from an older guy, someone so young, really involved in such a leadership capacity and stewardship. And so, kudos to you. And I actually have a thermal laminating machine, so have at it. That's my donation to the cause. I have the thermal laminating sheets and a little laminating machine. But it's for the regular size sheets. I think the Giraffes Can't Dance book is too big for that machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're going to have to find your own larger laminating machine. By the way, it was a great book. And I'm overdue to read the, The Quiet Bunny? So that's next on the agenda. One of the things that I think caused the town administrator, as a courtesy to the library trustees, that the back portion, lot 89, the greater part of our parking lot and the Storybook Brook Trail fall on the same parcel of land if you go to that.
Yep.
And I think, recently this, you don't need to know the dirty details, but I'll mention them. The library trustees and the town administrator and select board entered into what's called a memorandum of agreement or a memorandum of understanding or memorandum of agreement, whereby before the library addition was built, the entirety of our building and parking lot stood on what's called 35 Grafton Common. When it was extended backwards, no one really ever paid attention to the lot lines, but now most of the parking lot actually is overlapping to, it's on parcel 89. And so I think in fitting with that memorandum, it seemed sensible that the town administrator took it upon himself to ask what we thought of this, because we really don't have jurisdiction over that piece of the parcel. Although it's book related and adjacent to the library, I don't see us actually endorsing or not endorsing, but expanding library programming to that parcel for lack of accessibility. But what I mentioned to Chair Bowman and our director, Katrina, is that I think it would be a great idea, aside from people becoming aware of this parcel, even if we don't have programming out on that parcel, back in the woods, that whatever book you have out there, that we keep one or more copies in the library and advertise that, whether it be for children's reading time or whatever, to have
Great idea.
one or more copies of the book that you're showcasing.
Yeah.
So,
Maybe even have like a little shelf.
yeah.
It's a great idea.
Great.
I had one more question. So if folks are interested in donating, like I see you put your email and your phone number, but do you have a preference as far as if people are willing to donate as to how they contact you?
I prefer email. I don't have I'm gonna probably send up an actual fund me page type of thing.
Okay.
Where I can raise the money once I figure out the details of what I can get donated versus what I can get from the town. But once I do that, I will, yeah,
Okay, so it's
sure.
liam.lion12@gmail.com.
yes.
Okay,
Thanks
wonderful.
so much.
Great. Well, on behalf of the trustees, thanks for thinking of the library. I think it's going to be really nice to have people going to your space and going around that trail, and hopefully they'll walk into the library at the same time or vice versa. So thank you.
All right, thank you so
Good luck
much.
with everything.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, that was awesome. Mr. Chair, let's see, how am I going to word this motion? Try to word it simply. Mr. Chair, I move that the library trustees affirm the select board's endorsement of the Storybook Trail project proposed by Lee and Lyon.
Second.
Yeah, motion made and seconded. Any other discussion? Great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Declare the motion carried. Congratulations.
Congrats.
Thank you.
The rest of the meeting might not be quite as exciting, but you're welcome to stay.
If you'd like.
You're also welcome to. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Great. So we'll just start at the top of the agenda. Do so we did receive minutes a little bit. Was that today or
We
yesterday?
did, I think,
I would vote to pass over it for a couple reasons, but main reason is that I'm not sure if everyone had a chance to read through them all.
I agree with that.
I don't think you'd need to vote. I think you could just seek unanimous consent that we are in agreement to postponing them or passing, or deferring
Okay.
this to the next meeting.
Yep, sounds fine.
Okay, we did have, so I don't know if so I think you're referring to the February
The February meeting minutes, yes.
We passed over the January minutes because I sent mine out late last time, so I don't know if we want to pass over those as well if folks have not had a chance to read the January minutes. I had sent them out prior to the last meeting. I did not resend them.
No, it
wasn't
says we approved the January minutes.
You did or did
No, we
not?
did not. We did not approve the minutes.
Oh, well, that's what it says in the February minutes.
Didn't we pass over the January we
Said motion, Aaron made a motion to approve January
Let's,
minutes.
Let's just hold on that then. I do not remember what
I
we
don't.
did or
I'm,
didn't, so
I'm
we
pretty
can just go back
confident
and
that I sent
watch.
them out, and
So let's go back and watch the recording.
Okay.
That's
So-
a good
so
reason
that
to
was the
hold on the February
December
minutes
minutes.
too. Then
oh,
So
okay.
maybe last
Oh,
month
was the
December.
January?
So-
Oh, I'm sorry. It's a January. So you did the January. Okay, if you did the January and we approved them, then we're
yeah,
good.
the December one.
December one.
I did. Okay, the
Okay.
December is okay.
Thank you for the clarification. So great, we'll just pass over the February minutes and do that next month.
And the December.
And the
So we're due for December, January, February?
no, just
No.
December, February.
December.
Oh,
and
December,
February.
okay.
Yeah, so, just as something that, we should add to the agenda going forward is actually listing the minutes to approve.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I
because-
missed that, actually, I missed that.
And also along those lines, as to what Aaron's saying is that to the extent that we don't, to the extent that we don't approve any, we just keep those as a placeholder. Not that we invite those building up, but sometimes those can get lost, and then 3 years down the road, the town clerk says,
Exactly.
"Hey, guess what?"
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know.
but we
So-
can, we'll make sure that those get listed on the agendas.
Yep.
Okay, so then the next is approving bills. We have 5 warrants, 35 through 39.
Mr. Chair, I make first a procedural motion that we approve these 5 sets of bills as a consent agenda.
All right, motion made
Second?
and seconded. Any discussion on the consent agenda? I hear.
Yes, I think we decided we didn't need
Don't
to do
need that, I think
consent
so, too.
agendas anymore.
Oh,
I thought that's what
We
we
made a,
Oh.
a
determined,
vote
but
to do it like going forward or something.
does that mean we were doing them individually?
No,
no, that we didn't have to vote on the
Oh,
consent agenda.
okay,
each
all right,
time.
then I withdraw my motion.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the following 5 warrants, Articles 35 through 39, in the amounts stated in the agenda and the sources as contained in each of the warrant details from the meeting packet.
Motion made
Second.
and seconded by Prabhu. Any questions, discussions for Katrina on any of the warrants?
Since it's being recorded, I have a question.
Yep.
You said warrants and then articles 35 to 39.
I mean, warrant 35 through 39.
Yeah, I think it is important to list
The,
the amounts.
to state the amounts?
I would think so.
All right. Warrant number 35 in the amount of $7,677.82. Warrant 36 for $7,825.34. Warrant 37 for $3,971.36. Warrant 38 for $5,022.50. And warrant 39 for $2,550.81.
All right, any questions, discussion on any of the warrants? All right, hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I declare the motion carried. Thank you. Ongoing business, first up is the capital campaign. Were you gonna do that, or was I gonna do that?
Well,
Okay. No real update for the capital campaign. There was a small request, from Katrina for some shelving in one of the offices, and the campaign did approve that.
Thank you.
Moving
Wonderful.
forward. Otherwise, the only, I guess, ongoing maintenance the capital campaign continues to fund is the green roof, which gets maintained primarily during the growing months, of course.
So I have a question then about, since the leads money has been exhausted, is there some expectation that the capital campaign is a funding source? And I know that in our FY27 budget, the HVAC stuff went from like that unexpected amount of like 60,000 down to like 20, I think, for FY27. Those are just estimates. So do we anticipate, and it's along the lines of, what we look upon or what anyone looks upon the capital campaign funds as being available now that the leads money's been exhausted. So what do we anticipate either for HVAC and or any other capital items that are reasonably expected to be addressed in FY27?
So we're still working on developing an HVAC plan, particularly with concern to the historical reading rooms heating. We had a sort of a second opinion contractor come in and give us a quote to recommission the HVAC system in the building to an astronomical tune of almost $50,000.
Did you say 5-0 or 1-5?
5-0.
Okay.
And that wasn't going to necessarily solve the issues that we have. So I'm still working with Tracy Sharkey, the building inspector, to figure out a plan forward, and we're collaborating with Evan, but there's no real movement on that right now.
Plus the capital campaign is a 501,
C3.
501c3, yeah. And so it's really technically not available until the nonprofit says it is upon request of someone. I'm a bit frustrated, as much as everyone else, that so much money has gone toward this particular issue, both in the leads money and whatever other monies and sources have come up for this single issue.
I agree.
I mean, from the capital campaign perspective, it's open to requests. The intent of the campaign was to fund, building improvements, larger programs, larger purchases, like, I don't know, like the 3D printer and stuff, but
Right.
the campaign will take any request.
I know.
Okay. Any other questions on capital campaign? Great. Friends update, Carrie.
So, the weather forecast is looking good for next weekend, which we're knock on wood, very excited about. So, so the Friends host the annual spring egg hunt on the Common. This year, similar to last year, there will be 3 hunts. The first one starting at 10, which is the sensory friendly, and then there's 2 larger hunts after that. We are very appreciative to the Chief of Police, Minardi, who is going to be supplying a police detail to ensure safe crossings between the library and the Common, so very much appreciated. David Meridian, our state representative, is once again going to act as the MC, and hoping Katrina's
I'll be there.
Yay! So yeah, so okay, so that's wonderful. So it's the Friends. It's one of the largest events that the Friends do every year. It's really a wonderful activity. I hope everybody's able to attend. Yeah, so we're excited. So last weekend was egg stuffing. So members of the National Honor Society came to the library and assisted to stuff the eggs. So that's wonderful. We also have, and you remind me of the troop numbers, Aaron, but we also have Boy Scout troops that help
Troop
us.
106.
Troop 106, and then Heidi's troop too. Is she 106 too, or I don't know her number.
No, Heidi is Heidi is our activities chair. So she's the one that does a lot of the community outreach to, promote activities for the troop, how they can help. So you have currently 8 scouts that are going to help.
Okay, well, thank you to Troop 106. They always do a fantastic job, getting us set up and helping to clean up and everything.
And that's this coming weekend.
Is this coming Saturday? So it's Saturday, March 28th, starting at 10 on the Common. There is also a hunt at the high school at the same exact time. So if you buy tickets, make sure you know which ticket you buy for. So ours is you can. So for the Friends, you can go to the library website. There's also all things Grafton's or the Friends Facebook page. There's a QR. I should pick this up. This is it. So this is so there's a QR code on the flyer. So you don't have to go to the library to buy the tickets. You actually just use the QR code. The tickets are $6. $6 a child. So, and there's there's a raffle and so lots of fun.
Quick question for you, Carrie.
Yeah.
It says on the website for the library that it's in the community rooms. So are people supposed to go to the community rooms before they go to the Common?
So
or?
so on the website, because here it says Grafton Common. Where is it?
On the library calendar of events,
So-
it just says that it's in those community rooms.
Well-
I don't know if we should update the location then.
So the community, I mean, that's partially correct because there are going to be, the library staff will be running programs in the library. So there'll be stories and crafts and, all kinds of great things there as well. So, and of course, but
You're right,
I mean.
it says craft next to it. That's why.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but here, it says Grafton Common, rain or shine or snow. We have rain or shine, but it's snow as well too.
Yeah, Carrie, I remember, I forget what year, it was recently, and it was snowing.
Last year. It was last year.
Last year.
And it was still well attended. It was
It was so much fun. I mean,
And-
it was kind of easy to find eggs, but it was
people
fun.
really, I mean, you'd have thought that it would have been like hardly anyone, but people really look forward. That's like a
was a little-
signature event.
Yeah, it was a little nerve-wracking ahead of time because we're like, can we have it or not? But then we were like, no, we're going for it. And then once we made the decision, everybody really jumped in, and it was.
If they can trick or treat in the rain and snow, they can
Yep,
come out for
that's right,
spring
that's
egg
right.
hunt.
Yeah.
So
Oh, it's definitely a fun event.
it is awesome.
Yep.
And thank you, Carrie, for all that you do for the Friends and I mean, that's really a lot of things that the Friends do that people don't realize. So it's a lot of.
I did want to mention, at the end of the packet, it talks about next meeting. So the Friends typically meet on the second Tuesday of the month. So it says in the packet April 7th, but it's actually the 14th. So just to be aware of that. It's no, it's not always the case. Sometimes with holidays it has to be adjusted, but that's the normal cadence. It's normally the second Tuesday of the month for the Friends board, the Board of Trustees, and the Friends board. Meets via Zoom on usually the second Tuesday of the month. So
Great. Thank you, Carrie.
Oh, you're welcome.
Any other questions on the Friends?
Is it $6 for
Per-
children and adults free?
You don't get to, yeah, you don't get to get.
Adults don't
No,
get
the,
to
run
the
out
adult,
and
the adults take the kids'
That's right.
candy. That like Halloween, they take the
Yeah,
kids'
like,
candy.
you know.
But yes, it's free for the
Probably
adults.
is going to be knocking down
Or
toddlers.
one. For one adult is free.
Watch out for that.
I don't know. I'd watch out for the kids, actually.
Well, that's why. So that's one of the reasons why we're so excited or happy that we're doing the sensory hunt. And it was actually a parent last year that suggested it because the year before it was overwhelming for their child because literally there is a stampede, of kids. It's they're so excited. So the sensory one is a smaller number of children. I think it's limited to 25, and it's before the big crowds come. So it was really special last year to see, like, it was just a few children who did it, but they really appreciated that, and it's nice that we can accommodate that. So, yeah.
And the other thing that's neat about the Grafton Common that people don't realize, and it's one of my overdue procrastinating pet projects, is that when we talk about the Grafton Common for events, we typically refer to the fenced-in area. And any non-fenced-in area is, I guess, less than ideal for the real little ones because now they scatter and then they could go into the road. But from a space standpoint, a lot of people don't realize that the Grafton Common actually extends to the mulch line of the JCSI building. A lot of people think that's a side yard. It's probably about 10,000 square feet. That whole side yard that borders the sidewalk, and then there's a big like oak tree or something like that, all the way up to where that mulch bed begins is all actually technically Grafton Common.
So is the Jerome Wheelock statue part of the common itself?
I think it is, but I'm not entirely certain that little triangle is. But I would think it extends to that. But but the land, that whole side yard of JCSI building, is Grafton Common.
And then the front lawn of the library, is that that's part of the common?
That's part of the
too,
common.
right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it's not library land. It's
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah. I think if you were to cross from the Grafton Inn on the crosswalk,
well, crosswalks over on the library side.
right? But
Oh, the one going between.
no, what is
The inn to the library.
so if you go from the inn to the library to what was the front, is the front of the building, but is no longer the main entrance, you'll see that crosswalk kind of cuts across where I think like the first 10 feet is like easement and everything like that.
Is what?
Easement.
Easement.
In other words,
okay.
it's technically not part of 35 Grafton Common. But even then, I mean, who's to say that if it gets really busy in some future year, we couldn't extend it to that front lawn?
Well,
Probably don't want kids crossing.
yeah.
But,
do-
no, but we have
well,
cops. We got cops.
So we do have the police detail there. So actually, so last year the plan had been to have lawn games on the front lawn, but with the snow that really didn't work out. But this year, I believe the intention is, again, weather permitting, and if the staff is able to do that, is to have games inside, or actually, Cindy, am I correct on that? No, Sarah is really organizing that.
I'm not sure. I don't
Yeah.
think there are games because I don't think we have the personnel to be able to do that.
Okay.
Well, it sounds like it's going to
Okay.
be a lovely event.
I
Yeah.
think it's going to be a lovely
Yeah,
event.
we'll definitely have plenty
And-
to do.
And thanks again for all that update and work you do there. All right, so moving on in the agenda, Grafton annual town election is this May, of course, May 19th. We have 2 open seats for trustees, each of which have 3-year terms.
Doug, I did want to just note a correction. So the second on the agenda, it says nomination papers are available at the Municipal Center and are due by 5 p.m. on Tuesday, March 31st. That's not exactly correct. So you can, if you're interested in running for one of the trustee seats, you can pull papers up until 5 p.m. on Tuesday, March 31st. So you can pull it by that date, but the due date to return the papers is Tuesday, April 14th by 5 p.m. So just a distinction there. So pull it. So you go to the town clerk if you're interested. If you're obviously you have to be a registered citizen of Grafton to be able to do that, but you pull the papers and then you are required to get at least 50 signatures by registered Grafton voters and return them by 5 p.m. on Tuesday, April 14th. So
Thanks for noting that, because that is definitely an important distinction. So if you're interested in running for the Board of Library Trustees, please grab your papers by the end of this month, by 5 p.m. Tuesday, March 31st.
Yeah.
And if anyone's listening to the video and you have questions, you're welcome to reach out to any of the trustees.
Yeah. And thank you, Carrie, for running again. And I had mentioned in a recent meeting that I will not be, re-upping for 3 years. I mean, professional and personal commitments prevent me from really giving it my all. So, Carrie, thank you for continuing to have at it.
well, thank you. Well,
You've been
thank you,
good
and
at this.
if I'm reelected, be happy to
Yeah.
serve again. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
It's like we kicked it off,
Yeah.
3
But you
years
still
ago.
have
so.
you still have 2 more, right, or just 1 more?
One more.
Just 1 more.
Yeah.
Okay, let's
This is my second to last
get you
meeting.
next month.
Yeah. Well, with the Gatorade bucket.
Yeah, something.
You're
That's right. That's right. And yeah, of course, to the board, if you guys know anyone that's interested, or Katrina, any patrons seem to be super interested, point them our direction.
Yeah, the library's really, I mean, aside from, like the schools, the library is really the pulse of the community. Even a lot of people don't realize how much goes on, behind those walls and in the community. So,
Definitely. All right. If there's no other conversations about the elections, we'll move on to policy update with Aaron.
Thank you. So the policy committee, we met on March 11th. We had some discussion regarding the tie vote for the volunteer policy. And I think one of the concerns that had come up during the so a tie means it's defeated, right? So we still don't have a volunteer policy that's approved by the board. So some of the discussion that came up that we took as feedback was, if you're Corey checking people who, or start at the library who aren't 18 when they turn 18, who's going to check them, right? So we discussed that the schools Corey check annually. And that's, potentially something we can do. We haven't rewritten the policy. The policy still stands as it is. But if for whatever reason, the board feels that the policy doesn't reflect what we want, to present to the community with a volunteer policy, then, we can take, changes, amendments, and something that we can all agree on, right? But this would be the 3rd time that it's come to the board, right? So, beyond that, we discussed the collection development policy, and we reviewed commentary from legal. So that one you have tonight for vote as well. And as I discussed at the last meeting or previous meetings, this is a really kind of a big shift in the way that we look at materials that are being requested for us to review or be removed from the collection, right? So with this new policy, the policy discusses in great detail how we develop our collection. So if somebody believes that an item doesn't meet the spirit of the collection development policy, they can challenge the policy. And if we find, yes, we agree that item does not really meet the spirit of the collection development policy, then we would remove it. So it's no longer an individual book banning form that they would need to fill, but is something that they would challenge the policy. Is that accurate? Anything to add?
I would even say that I don't think that there would be any challenges brought to the board, because it would come through me.
That's right.
So is it safe to say that this affords greater First Amendment protections? Gotcha.
It absolutely does.
All right.
Yeah, that was a great distinction. Thank you.
All right.
So the policy we're approving means that if someone feels something shouldn't be in the collection, then that would really come to the library director, and they would review the collection development policy and see if it fits or not. And so we really wouldn't have to do those sort of reviews
Right.
going forward.
And I'll mention one last thing because I know that, we need to keep things moving along. But every time we mention this First Amendment stuff, I will always mention that as a reminder to our own board and the community that within the policies of the library and mirrors the American Library Association's Freedom to Read statement, an unbelievable 3-page document that if you don't like it, don't read it. That it's a very strongly worded document, and I honestly think it's a must read for everyone.
Thank you. And lastly, we began review of some feedback we got from legal regarding the meeting room policy. A lot of it was I don't want to say wordsmith, but it was that the one that was a lot of like capital L for this library here and that, but it's a rather long policy, so we didn't quite get through it in the hour that we had allotted for that. So we'll continue to review those edits at the next meeting. But certainly, if you want to be involved in that policy development, please join us at the next meeting. We meet on the first Wednesday.
So are you looking for a motion to approve? All right, so in the meeting packet, the collection development policy is worded?
Yeah, you're looking for approval of the collection development policy and the volunteer policy.
Yep.
Okay. I thought you said the volunteer.
Because I didn't think the volunteer policy. I thought you were still talking through the options of it. Did out of those options you land to keep it as is? You had listed out a couple options, so I guess I missed that. Or are we?
Like, what are the changes from last month to this month with the
No
volunteer?
changes.
So we
So we took the feedback and we discussed it, and we felt that this policy still reflects what we want to present to the board. We haven't gotten any feedback on what should we change, right? Except we just had lots of discussion about. So again, I'm not getting any direction from the board as to what we want to approve for a volunteer policy, and the policy subcommittee takes feedback, and we still believe that this is the best policy for us. And unless the board wants to vote it down and give us something different, then we can do that. But it has been voted down because we had a tie. And I looked up Robert's rules, and if something doesn't get approved by a majority vote, then it's it fails.
Right.
Right.
Last time we only had 4 trustees, so it was 2 and 2.
Right.
Right.
I have a quick question on the policy, but I don't know if you guys want to make the motion for the policy and then have the discussion.
Why don't we start with the collection development policy? So I'll entertain a motion. Thanks for describing the changes and, the goal of that policy.
Yep.
So I'll entertain a motion to accept that.
I'll make a motion to approve the collection development policy.
Seconded.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the collection development policy?
Yeah, I have one. So the collection development policy didn't exist before, and this is brand new, or is this an amendment? I'm sure it existed, but this is an amendment?
It is a rebranding of the materials selection policy.
Okay, gotcha.
So it does the same thing, but it just is called something different.
And the library displays policy is also included. So
But it'll replace those two.
correct.
Those two will, yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so it combines the rebranding of material selection policy and material displays policy? All right, so just to quickly ask you whether or not I think that the separate document that I referenced being the freedom to read statement, that was sort of like for an addendum or an attachment or an appendix or something of the materials selection policy as it is currently known. So where then is the freedom to read
It's
statement?
right at the bottom.
No,
There's
but
links at the bottom.
no,
At
but
the bottom, there's a bunch of links.
There's links
At the bottom of the, I got
Okay.
it, Carrie, yeah.
All
At
right.
the bottom of, it says references, this policy is informed by professional standards and best practices included, but not limited to, and there's
Right.
7 links there.
and so I see these 7 links, but one of the things that we did is rather than incorporating everything by reference, the freedom to read statement was actually printed out as part of the text of the material selection policy. Will that continue to be the case? Because I politely but feel strongly that of all the documents, they're all important, but I would hate to see it just buried as incorporated by reference, knowing that that had actually been in print as part of the text. Had you talked about that piece? It's maybe nuanced, but it was always up front and center as part of the document. And by having it on our own internal website, we can be sure that it won't quote unquote go away with some disabled link elsewhere. So,
Well, how about we just, I know some of those links are probably quite long, but like freedom to read, freedom to view are relatively short documents. Can we, for the paper copy that exists in the library, can we print those out?
Sure.
And include them with that?
that's fine,
be
but as far as accessible, as long as, and I'm wondering, I know that, I don't want to get into a song and dance about PDF accessibility, but I links and Google Drives and all these other things sometimes become disabled, or disconnected over time. And I like the fact that even if the text isn't printed on the website, that there's some document that is physically housed electronically that isn't just a link incorporated by reference to some .gov website or a mass website.
I guess the opposite side of that would be we have a copy and it gets outdated and it's one more thing we'd have to maintain. I think we're better served. We'll know if the link breaks, right? Because you can click it and see it. I think if we have to go through and check and see if anything's changed, that might pose a greater risk on
I understand.
on being out.
Because there would be more to monitor.
Yeah.
So-
And there's the policy is going to get reviewed. Well, I don't know what the review
Right.
cycle is, but every couple of years anyways. So
Right.
if there's a broken link, we can update it then.
And even and I'm not saying that we have to drown ourselves in paper, but moving forward, I would love, from a First Amendment standpoint, for these links to be more prominently featured on the front sections of our website. That's all.
Yep.
So I'm not going to put up a fuss about then having and your objection is well taken, because that does pose, for lack of a better term, liability if we're having outdated documents. So
Yeah, and a lot of businesses, you can't have printed copies for that exact reason. Yeah.
right.
Yep, Carrie.
So I just wanted to say, I really like the fact in the references that it says the policy is informed by professional standards and best practices, including but not limited to.
Right.
I think that really, lets the community know that we're aware of these, that we take them into consideration, but our policy is our policy. And again, if things change,
Great point.
Right.
To your point, I think we need to spell out the links. We can't have
Oh,
Yeah, that's fair.
hyperlinks that
Yeah.
are obscured,
Right.
right?
that's true.
Yeah,
So
that's
if there's a print copy, people need to know what the website
That's
is.
true.
Yeah.
Good
So
That makes sense. Of course. Yeah.
Okay. Any other comments on the collection development
Yeah,
policy?
yeah. Just from a thank you standpoint, I know policy subcommittee things get visited and revisited and go back to legal and come back, and it can sometimes be or often be a thankless task. So I know, Aaron, you've taken the lead, and I don't know who else is currently on the subcommittee. Is it
Prabhu.
probably
I
you?
missed this meeting in person. I
And
never
Katrina.
missed that meeting in person.
So thank you for being the most recent, addition to the policy subcommittee, because that's a lot of work, and I appreciate everything that goes into that and really informing us as a board to not have to just dig in and jump into the weeds at our main meetings, and that we're guided by, the subcommittee work.
And it's extreme, I mean, obviously it's important to us and the library itself, but it's important to the library staff as well, because they have these guiding documents for when there's any questions by the community. Okay, if any other discussion on this, hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Declare the motion carried. Congratulations.
So that includes the edits to show the links, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, very good.
So then I'll entertain a motion on the volunteer policy.
I make a motion to approve the volunteer policy.
Second.
Motion made and seconded.
I would like to request just a couple of very minor edits. So in section 1, volunteer age restrictions, 1D, it says all volunteers age 18 or older. I think that should be aged, AGED. In section 3, volunteer expectations, 3E, non-operational, I believe it should have a dash in it. And in the section volunteer tasks, I was a little confused in the volunteer tasks in the bullets. There's semicolons at the end of all of the bullets, and then the very last one has a period and a semicolon. Wasn't really, not really familiar with seeing that, or whether that's necessary to have semicolons in between them. I thought that was a little strange. And then in the sentence following that says all volunteers will receive specific training, it says and to make sure the volunteer feels. I think it should be make sure that the volunteer feels. Just it kind of popped up, like the wordsmith kind of popped it up, so I wasn't sure if we needed that in there.
Did you capture all that?
I can repeat
It's
it
all-
if you like.
It's all highlighted when we download the Word document, everything that you just said.
It is.
Oh, I highlighted it. So did I highlight it for everybody?
No.
Oh,
it
like when
shows,
you- yeah.
The grammar brings
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, you're
these
right.
are all
Okay.
double-
Yeah, because
so
I see I highlighted it. Okay, so you're just saying the underline part.
It's, yeah.
Okay, any other discussion around the volunteer policy?
Yeah, I had a couple questions because I know last time when we talked, there were concerns around like Katrina, how you were going to be looking to implement like process around some of this. So, like, can you just tell me a little bit about like what that you're expecting that process to look
So, based on our conversation, I had a conversation with Kristen Pasicane at the town hall and asked her about core rechecks, repeating those annually. She said that she would be willing to help us out with that. So the internal procedure would be to keep a list of current volunteers and their dates of birth, should they not be of legal adult age, to make sure that we're Corey checking children as they graduate into adulthood and doing that annual Corey check. So we would have a central list.
Okay, is that something where in 1D then we'd say that, because it says right now all volunteers 18 or older are subject to a Corey background check to be completed prior to becoming a volunteer, and so we said and refreshed annually at the libraries and towns' discretion, like if we add that there, because then it shows that it's going to be happening annually. Like the way it's worded, it just seems like it's a point in time. So if we're going to change our process so that we're doing it annually, I think reflecting it in here covers a lot of the concerns, right? Because I think you said if you query anyone under the age of 18, nothing really pops anyway, so it's not worthwhile. So I love that we're gonna like do it annually, especially if that's kind of how people are handling Corey checks, and I think that was a lot of Chris's concerns, and I think if we update the language accordingly with that, it will close that. Sure.
So the library itself does its own Corey check. In other words, we don't borrow from another organization, even if it's elsewhere in town.
We don't do the Corey check. We send it to town hall and they do it for us.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
I guess. Yeah. That's in other words, it's meant though. Right. And it's meant though for the purposes of the library being, I guess, the sponsor or the initiator of that. I know that I always kind of found it a little bit odd that like if I'm in one entity in town and I have a current Cory check, and then the next week I want to go to another similar entity, that the first Cory check doesn't count. It continues to have to, you have to go through the process
It would be
again.
a separate one.
Right.
And then I had a quick question on 1C. Since they're accompanied by a parent or guardian, do we then count that parent or guardian as a volunteer as well?
I wouldn't. They would more be, they're not technically volunteering. They'd be there as a patron.
I was just thinking if they also apply then to the Cory check as well, if they are.
If the adult applied to be a volunteer, then yes, we would definitely want to do that.
Which number is that again?
1C.
Do we have any volunteers who are age 10 to 13? We do?
Sometimes.
Okay,
I don't know if we have any currently, but I know that it's happened in the past.
interesting.
Gotta
Accept
get
them on a
people
case-by-case.
into the library system early.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great.
There's some very enthusiastic children out there.
All right.
I
Yeah.
guess.
I mean, Boy Scouts can, well, they can become Boy Scouts when they're 12, I believe. So you could have kids that are eager to get those volunteer hours in, and I think Scouts tend to like to volunteer.
National
service hours to the
Honor
library.
Society too.
Yeah,
But not
isn't it
that young.
Seniors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll get some that are under.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any other questions on the volunteer policy?
So I guess to Rachel's point, do we have to clarify the wording then? So we would, do we need to then change 1D to talk about the annual checks? Or can we do it as is?
How would it be if we said in that last section, to be completed prior to beginning as a volunteer and annually henceforth?
That sounds good.
Okay.
That was very pithy. I like that. And thank
Aaron's
you.
rubbing off on me.
Yeah. and honestly, like, thank you both, and probably all three, right? Like, I'm just looking across at them. But I really appreciate you taking the feedback, and I know, like, we didn't come out with clear direction because part of it is there was a lot of open questions out of it, and Katrina, we didn't want to, like, hamstring you either into a process that didn't make sense. So I know that was a little bit of a tricky situation, and just really appreciate you guys taking it back and talking through the process, because this feels much more comfortable on my end, and if that is going to be the process, I think reflecting it in the language will be.
Yeah, I mean, Katrina's been great taking the feedback from the board and then taking it to the town, talking with other town groups to see how they do things too. So she's always had really great insights for us to discuss at the subcommittee meetings. So thank you for that.
Great, thank you. All right, well, hearing no other discussion, all those in favor of accepting the volunteer or approving the volunteer policy?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Declare the motion carried.
All right. I
Is that third time a charm?
three times the charm. I have I guess a procedural question moving forward, and it's a recommendation that's similar to what the bylaw review committee and the charter review committee do in town. I have found it helpful that when we're amending or consolidating or doing rewording policies or bylaws or whatever, that we somehow through strikeouts or color coding or whatever, that we denote deletions and additions, so we know when reading it how it differs from the existing document, and also that we shadow or put something prominently on each of the pages that it's a draft, and maybe the date, so that no one could confuse things that are in draft as being the final product. And then the other question is, now that we've approved the collection development policy, how do we sort of retire the material selection policy and material displays policy, I guess, in perpetuity? As you know, how do we house them or archive them and note that they've been retired and that they are now consolidated into this amended document?
That was on my list.
Yeah, how
Do
do
we
we-
need to officially, Aaron, do we need to officially approve the retirement of those two policies?
I think it's incorporated by
I
reference.
think we would want to, and I guess
We
my
would-
question is, what's the document retention on that? Like, do they live at the town hall just in case anything comes up? Like how long do we have to retain those documents for?
I don't know if there's a
Not to put you on the
like
spot.
a regulatory aspect, but there's probably it probably sits on our server until the server dies or something. Like,
And I hate that until the server dies.
I mean, until like
Orwell would love you
yeah, some major IT.
Please,
until it
Sorry,
dies.
I
brother.
had one feedback earlier on the motion that we all approved.
Yep.
Does it not need to say that as suggested, as with the suggested changes, right? So we approved it
And
as-
then the
Oh,
Yeah.
with the amendment.
With the amendment.
Okay.
As amended.
Yep.
Yes,
As
that's a
amended.
great
Thank
So
you.
do I need to amend my motion?
I think, Mr. Chair, I think you could, in my opinion, you could probably, after the fact, just seek unanimous consent that was intended and
Yeah,
to
I think 'cause
incorporate
that was
it.
definitely the intent, but I will seek another vote. Like, does everyone agree that was
Yes.
implied
Yeah.
by the thing?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right.
So do we need to officially retire those other two policies by vote?
We've never done that.
Okay.
But again, I've only been a trustee for 10 years and policy
I
subcommittee.
don't remember doing it
chair
either.
for just 4 or 5 years. But so the volunteer policy is new, and I would say that the collection development policy is
Just a new version of it.
it's really a new policy for us. So I do understand your point about when we're approving something, it's always nice to see what we're striking and what was added
Right.
when it comes to the board, correct?
Right. In the public too, that I find it just challenging
Yep.
to look at two documents and realize, oh my word, we only changed one sentence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sort of like the way now the town clerk requires in red any amended agendas to be, all right, what is the change? And we saw that this time around with the Eagle Scout project. That was the change. I didn't have to search for it.
Okay.
And I think we talked about this 2 months ago, right?
Yeah.
Having a red line version of it that we saw. Are you guys using Microsoft Word like it?
Well,
Capability.
so is this an agreement of the board that this is what you guys want to see going forward?
It would be helpful, but if it's very cumbersome, let us.
So what's going to happen is there's going to be a lot of discussion on why things were stricken and the way things were written before, right? And it's going to belabor our votes. So if we do this going forward, and this is for future trustees that I don't even know, that may be on the board, right? Like, so we have to agree that what we're presenting to you is really the final copy that's to be voted on.
Right.
It's not to be wordsmithed. It's not to be changed. And if we can't vote on it at our meeting in 5 minutes, table it, goes back to policy committee. Like that has to be the expectation, because I think that's what's going to happen. And maybe we have done that before, and it just belabors.
Well, I certainly would be in favor of the draft watermark just because as soon as we print things out,
Yeah.
if they get left behind or something like that. I think I initially preferred the red line, but hearing what you said, I would be okay if the policy committee would highlight the changes, sort of what you did today, instead of redlining. But
Yeah, and however,
presumably you guys have had a red line version when you were working through it, and then you just
Right.
clean it up a little bit.
Yeah,
and-
Yeah.
I also, so a lot of training that I do, like with my job, like
Yeah.
we have like the original version, we have the red line.
Yeah.
And so like this red line is wonderful because it's one little change and it's highlighted. When you have something where it's red line and the whole thing is redlined, it's unreadable. It really is. So,
Right.
so yeah, in this, I think it really makes a lot of sense. I don't know, like, if we're rewriting a policy, I don't know how much value that adds because it's, you really can't.
Yeah. What we're presenting is the final copy.
Well, I think that's a great point, right? If it's
Yeah.
a policy when you're changing one line, let's just highlight the one line
Yeah.
or something, right? If it's something like this where you combine two major policies, like that doesn't have a lot of value to your point because of the substantial amount. So I think if it is just tiny changes, being able to call that so we have that perspective.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
And all the existing policies that would be replacing would be on the library's website
Right.
for your reference.
And then I think the final point would be understanding what our retention policy would be for expired
So
policies. We don't have to discuss it
Yeah,
tonight.
but I think it's something that we can bring back to the policy subcommittee. But why would we ever need to
So
refer to an old policy that's been outdated?
I'll
that's
tell
for
you
legal
why.
reasons, for like discovery. So if there's like legal holds, so there's a certain amount of time you have to hold documents before you can get rid of them. And so if there is ever like a legal item that came up on one of our policies from that time period,
Yes.
like that's what you need to know. So I actually wonder if the town knows and if they have like a standard they use for it, just to make sure that it's there and somewhere it can retained.
Okay.
So,
I would just put it to the policy committee to investigate that.
Right, and I think it's useful, I mean, for word nerds, that those who are inclined to dig deep into these, old policies aren't necessarily inventing the wheel. If you look at an old policy versus a new policy, you could compare and contrast how one became the other, and reasonably infer things, and so that someone who's looking to change something, I think it benefits them to see the prior versions of it. I think that's the audience. Maybe another policy subcommittee. Does that make sense, or am I talking in circles because it's late? I mean, as far as I hate the idea of just making things disappear, or allowing things to disappear. I mean, there's no harm done to hoard things electronically. It doesn't take physical space like this water bottle,
I guess my concern's a little bit more. I know when
Yours
you
is
came
more
on
legal.
Katrina, there was a
Right.
lot of documents that we
Right.
weren't able to find, and so again, my concern is really the legal piece. So if
Mm-hmm.
there's a reason we legally have to hold those policies that the town administrator says, like,
Yeah, no, that's
well,
fair.
I understand the like nice to be able to have that historical
Right,
record
right.
piece. I'd say my piece is coming more like, is there a legal expectation of us? So,
So let's just leave it to Katrina and Aaron to investigate a little bit,
so
Thank you, that's
and
good.
Prabhu.
along those
Gotta
lines.
sit next to them with the real.
That's right.
But along the
why are
lines
you
of
over
what,
there?
what Rachel is mentioning is that about the legal piece. On top of that, though, are those legal reviews of the draft subcommittee, recommendations, are those distributed by means of, is it attorney-client privilege, or is that distributed by means of email? And if it's by means of email and it's been distributed by the town to you, let's say, then that's a public document. What I'm getting at is that if we're going to then stress the importance, and I agree with you on this point, that keeping these documents, even if for the sole reason for legal purposes, then if you're talking about a legal opinion that speaks to whether we should move forward with this, that, or the other thing regarding a proposed policy, then that communication should be kept with that material that you want to hold
I
on.
think
I
we're talking
think
about two separate things, and
we
it
are,
probably
and
makes sense to just take it offline because
Right.
we won't have any answers.
I think I think we recognize the potential concerns, but none
Right.
of us have answers until we
Right.
talk to the town.
All right.
Okay. I'm going to move on to the agenda to new business with Katrina. So A is funding, trustees, and scribe.
So if it pleases the chair, I would love to move to our two guests that are in the galley here.
Okay. Of course.
We've got Jennifer Chase here for St. Pauli, and we've got Nick Valerie here for the EV charger discussion. So,
Okay.
yeah, I don't know if Jennifer wants to kick us off.
Yep. So we'll start to the St. Pauli textile clothing sheds, and that was a proposal we saw in our packet. So welcome.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, my wife's
I don't know about you, but I'm a paper person. I'm sure you've seen this. Hand out a couple too. Yeah.
Oh, look at this. I'm just going to take this for the twirly thing.
Thank you.
Prabhu again.
Oh,
We missed
Another
one.
copies again.
Is it the
oh,
same
I'm
as?
sorry, is there,
It should be the same.
yeah, okay.
I'll also I'll pass around that.
If you need a copy, you can take mine. I'm not a paper person, so I got it. Yeah.
So my name is Jennifer, and I work for St. Pauli Textile, and our company works with Actually, we're up to 1,800 now. 1,800 nonprofit organizations throughout the Northeast. And what we do is we partner with one local organization in a community or neighborhood, and we donate to your organization a wood frame shed, as you see in the packet, that we've purchased from a Mennonite company in Pennsylvania. So they are beautiful sheds like you see in your backyard, wood frame, shingled roof, and they have a donation chute on the front. So people from the community can actually come and donate at their convenience. And what we're trying to do is reduce the 85% of used clothing that's thrown away in the US. Massachusetts actually has a law that you cannot throw away textiles anymore. But even before that, we were collecting 175,000 pounds of clothing per day. So we're definitely making an impact on the textiles that are thrown away. And what we do is we provide, obviously, the beautiful wood frame shed, but then also outreach materials. So we give you promotional materials to promote the program, flyers, posters, something that can go on social media, something that can go in local paper, kind of promoting the program and then also helping promote the library. So it's very much an outreach project as well for the library. And we strive for cleanliness. So our number one priority is that it's always kept clean in pristine order, which is why we pick up from that shed every 6 to 7 business days or more if needed. So we are an open line of communication between us and the library to make sure that, you know, if we ever need to pick up again, we will. If there's ever needing any kind of maintenance, what have you, we maintain them year round. We actually carry a $10 million liability insurance on every one of our locations. So if anything happened in or around the shed, we are responsible. And what we do is we give keys to our hosts. So whether it be the library or whoever is hosting our program, so that someone from that organization can also monitor the shed between our weekly pickups. So we give you keys to the shed. So we just ask you to visit the shed a couple times a week to make sure that the chute area is never obstructed and people can freely donate throughout the week. Now our sheds hold between 400 to 600 bags of clothing, so it's very hard for it to get filled up, you know, within that 6 to 7 business days. But that chute area can kind of get a little clustered, you know, between our pickups. So we just ask that someone can just keep their eye on it. And then what we do as a company is we take all of the clothing in large bulk quantities and we sell it very cheaply to U.S. and foreign government agencies, relief organizations, and other types of businesses that sort the clothing. So there's no sorting on your end. We do very minimal sorting in our warehouse in Connecticut. But the bulk of it is, you know, redistributed to relief organizations, government agencies, and other types of businesses like that sort it. And it gets redistributed worldwide, mostly to developing countries where people below the international poverty level can actually access quality used clothing. But the nice thing about our program is that you have keys to that shed. So if you ever needed the clothing at a local level, so for instance, if there was a fire in the community and the fire department said, you know, we need clothing right away because, you know, Mr. Jones just had a fire and they have nothing. We want you to use that clothing at the local level so that it can actually help people here in Grafton or surrounding towns. It's very important to us that people know that it's there and it's used for the community. And we also give the library funding for everything that we collect. So it's very much a fundraising project as well. A lot of libraries that I work with the Friends group if they have it, because they're usually the volunteer fundraising portion of the library. So we actually give your organization 4 cents a pound for everything collected. So on average, it's between $50 to $200 a month that you can use for the wonderful programs that you do at a library.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the number?
Yep. So we give 4 cents a pound for everything collected, and on average, it's between $50 to $200 a month. I actually have a couple of examples of some organizations in the area that host our program, how long they've hosted, and how much they received last year. So I placed a shed over at St. Peter's Church in Northbridge, the end of 2024 last year. So they've had it for a little over a year now. They collected 43,000 pounds of clothing, which clothed 7,800 people worldwide, and that gave the church $1,700 for their church. I'm sure you know Northbridge St. Peter's Church, huge yard sale every year. But I went to their yard sale and they actually told me how amazing their shed was, and they said, our yard sale's great, but that shed's just pushing through. So I was very happy to hear that. The Upton Grange, you might not even notice that it's there. It's a little shed up in the Upton Grange. They've had our shed for 12 years now, since 2014. They had collected 33,000 pounds of clothing last year. That clothed over 6,000 people worldwide, and they had about $1,300 for their Grange to help support their local community. Then we've got Bethel Lutheran Church, which is a little bit further away in Auburn, but they've had our shed since 2017. They collected 68,000 pounds of clothing, which clothed over 12,000 people, and they did $2,700 last year. And then the most recent, but the closest library that we have to here would be the Millis Library, and they've only had our shed since the middle of 2025, and they did $784. So they're they probably are going to be doing $1,500, if not more, this year. And that was 19,000 pounds of clothing and 3,600 people worldwide that were clothed. So I've actually placed 2 more libraries since then. I've actually placed, I think, a total of 6 libraries since I started 4 years ago. And I believe your wording that the library is the pulse of the community is actually perfect. And I wrote it down because I'm keeping it, because it's completely true. I have an 8-year-old and we visit the library at least once a week. I feel like you guys' programs are imperative for the community, and I personally love helping libraries because of that. So I've placed a number of sheds at churches and other municipalities and legions, but my passion is libraries and senior centers. So it was a while back that I actually spoke with Tom, the previous director, and he loved this idea. And then one thing happened, one thing after another happened, and then kind of fell away. So I'm presenting finally, thanks to Katrina, and looking to see if the library might be interested in working with us.
So,
Thank you, Jennifer.
You're welcome.
Yep, open to questions. We'll start with her since she spoke up first.
so we do have a very vibrant Friends community, Friends organization, not community, Friends organization. So I would be happy as the liaison to the Friends to present this to them. I guess the biggest question that I have is, Katrina, do you have thoughts as to where the shed would be located on the library property? And I guess what kind of permission would we need to get from the town? Because it's a good sized shed.
It is, yes, for good reason, obviously. So if there are any, permissions needed from the town, that's something that I can get for you. Okay. Any kind of permitting, we actually take care of all the permitting. There's never any monetary obligation for the library or the friends of the library. So if there were permits, we take care of it. If they need to be renewed, we take care of it. There's actually permits needed in Worcester for all of our sheds that need to be renewed every single year, and we do that. So everything comes to me, and I take care of that, and I'm happy to do it. Yeah. But placement, I don't know. I pretty much, I just learned from that young gentleman's presentation that you guys don't necessarily own all of your parking lot, which I was not aware of, but that doesn't stop anything. So the last 4 libraries that I placed, Shirley, Millis, Sterling, Connecticut, are all municipal properties. They might even be at a town hall. So we would just go to the select board, either town administrator, however it is, and just ask if they can give permission to place it. They're always happy that we carry our own liability insurance, that we maintain it, and that someone from the libraries or the friends of the library is actually going to help maintain it. and that it's a beautiful shed and not a metal box.
And I
I
think,
don't,
oh,
sorry, I want to grab Prabhu because he raised his hand earlier.
Thank you. Thanks, Chair. So I think this is a very noble cause, and especially helping out communities that are in need. The question I have is for our town. I know there are two places where we do clothes being collected, right? One near the municipal center, one in South Grafton. I don't know if there is another location where we have collection bins.
well, we have St. Vincent de Paul is 3 light blue bins in the Stop and Shop parking lot and in North Grafton, St. Mary's parking lot next to the cemetery.
There's one in the
Homefield too, right?
the credit union parking lot.
That's true, yeah.
5.
Yeah, and so, yeah, it's one of the interesting things is that on one hand, as a trustee, I'm like, all right, if I give any objection to this, maybe this is taking money off the table. But on the other hand, I'm constantly, I'm a regular clothes donor of gently used clothes. I'm like the recycling maniac.
Good.
Okay, both in trash and recycling and in clothing. And so. And so I'm always, it's clean, it's folded, it goes in the bin. I can't tell you the amount of times that, however well-intentioned some of these programs are, I on one hand, I like the fact that it's frequently or more frequently visited than other ones, but people basically are moving out of town and they literally dump baby carriages and bicycles and lamps and all sorts of things. It looked like someone had emptied out their apartment a couple of months ago,
believe it.
one of those things. And so
Yep.
that's one of my only concerns.
That's the biggest concern that anyone has ever brought to us.
Right.
So in the beginning, I mentioned that our sheds carry and hold a lot more items. So those metal bins, first of all, people associate metal bins with dumpsters. They are just going to abuse those. People respect our sheds 99% more than the metal bins. They hold a lot more. They can fit a lot more. And they're going to respect it also because it's at the library. It's not at a gas station or a grocery store where it's not being watched or monitored. But also, our job as a company is to remove everything that is donated because people are people and they will donate things that are not textiles. So we have a sign right on the shed that says clothing, shoes, belts, purses, stuffed animals, bedding. But people are going to donate things that are not those items. But it is our job to take it. And the first thing we want you to do, because you guys have eyes on it between our pickups, is to call us so that we can come and get it right away. We have trucks in this area constantly. And then also, again, we are open line of communication between us and every partner that we work with to make sure that they can actually tell us when something like that happens, because we don't want that for your property and we don't want that for our business as well. But yes, people will donate items like that, but it's very infrequent when it comes to our sheds over those boxes.
Okay.
And it's not going to take away from those other boxes either. People are going to keep donating to Salvation Army. They're going to keep donating to Goodwill. They're going to keep donating to St. Vincent de Paul. They're going to keep going to where they always went. We're trying to pick up everybody else that doesn't know where those are, and also, bring more awareness of the library. And when people want to help a local organization like the library, they don't necessarily know how to, but if they just come to the library and they say, oh, you guys have a drop-off box? Okay, the next time I'm coming, I'm going to drop off my clothes here because I know that it's going to help the library because it has the library's name right on it. So they know directly it's going to help their local
Yep.
community
Okay.
organization.
Rachel?
And I guess my question's for Katrina, right? So it sounds like we were lucky that you brought this topic, right? Did you have a chance to look at anyone else, or is this just because they came to us that we're considering it?
I think it's because they came. Yeah.
Well, I guess that what I throw out to the committee, right, is to your point, we do have a lot of other ones in town. There's actually a bin I go to in Sutton because they take items that are ruined clothing. They are stained. So I have small kids, a small child, right? So I have a lot of stained clothes. They take it and they turn it into insulation for walls, and they'll take the good stuff out and kind of resell it, or donate it, and you get a portion back, which I believe is unfortunately higher than the amount that this proposal is. So I just knowing that one quick example, I think if this is something we want to pursue, we should probably just look at a couple options to see what best fits the local community's need, and just do our due diligence.
Yeah,
right?
Did
But
you-
I respect
do
that,
like the
yeah.
program
Yeah.
too. It looks
Did you approach the town like for other locations, or like why did it funnel down to the library?
I live in Millbury, and again, I'm very much into the libraries.
Okay.
I believe it was maybe 2 years ago that I approached Tom, but I approached the Legion, I approached the Lions Club actually, and they said, we love the idea, but we're too far out from
Right.
centrally. But no, I didn't. I don't usually go right to the town. I always go to like the local nonprofits.
Yeah. Okay.
But
And I-
also to make, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, to make your point, so the president of our company is actually a CEO also of Smart, which is an international company that is secondary materials and recycled textiles. So that company makes sure that anything that is not wearable is actually made into something else. So we're kind of,
I would say though, if you could donate the stuff that's not wearable, because again, you can't throw it in the trash, right? And so I think as we were talking, right, that really is kind of the gap right now. Like I said, I have to drive like a couple towns over.
Right.
You mean for like true textile recycling?
But I think they
Yeah,
take the
for true
state.
textile.
yeah, we take
They
everything.
take the
Oh, I
state.
thought you
It's a-
said it was just stuff that you could, like when you
Nope.
market it, do you say you can donate that stuff and it's gonna be taken care of?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
it did say
Okay.
that.
Yep.
I saw that in the
Yep.
material.
Okay,
Yep.
sorry, as you were talking and I was reading, it sounded like you only, so you actually market that you can bring ruined clothes.
Yes. Because of that rule
Oh,
now.
I
Yes.
I missed
we were
that.
on the same page.
Right.
I thought it was
Oh,
only
No, it
No,
only
it
one
definitely
clothing.
says it.
Sorry.
No, and that makes, well, I think
Yes.
that makes such a huge difference.
Yes, it does.
Right? Because like we just put everything in one pile and then we say if stuff's ruined, it's gonna be put to good use, and if
Right.
it's not, then it gets put.
And with the discussion around pay-as-you-throw bags, people would be inclined to throw out a bunch of soiled towels in a $4.50 bag. And so if they can donate it to your organization versus, spending money on trash bags.
Right.
Carrie?
So, Rachel, the bin that you saw that also takes the soil materials, how is it size-wise compared to this? Because one of the things that I really am excited about with this one is the large size, because I know that oftentimes the bins in town get overflowed, and I have friends who work with them, and it's frustrating because there's good materials that are left in front of the bin
And then
because there's not
ruined.
room- and they're ruined.
Exactly.
So that's one of the things that I really do like about this is that that it can hold a lot, so that
Right.
you have less, hopefully, damaged.
And that's
And
exactly
that's-
why we designed it that way.
Well, and I think they're just like your traditional metal ones, but like I said, when I was reading through it, I took it as like just the good stuff. So like
Right.
as long as you're taking the bad stuff,
Yes,
too,
we are.
like that's really the win for the community, because there's a lot of places that take the good stuff.
Right.
Yes, Aaron?
I just have, I think we need to
Yeah, I do. I
wrap
wanna-
things
I
up
was gonna move it around.
because I can see Doug's,
Well, I don't think we have enough information now to approve it tonight, but
No, I
we
didn't-
have enough
I don't
information-
expect that.
No, I know, I'm
Yes.
just saying as a board, but certainly enough information for us to go out on our own and come up with other ideas or decisions.
So my question is, let's say we like your product, and we agree to this, but all of our fears are realized.
Yes.
That people are leaving books and,
Oh.
and car
Yep.
seats and all this stuff, and you guys just aren't doing what you said you would do.
Yep.
How do we say goodbye?
Yeah, what's the
So
contract?
we have absolutely no contracts. The only thing we ever have you sign is the ACH direct deposit form, which is how we pay your organization. So we don't have any contracts that say you have to have us for any amount of time. We have a 98% retention rate on every one of our locations, but if at any point in time you said, this is not working out, we're not going to argue, we're not going to say anything, we're going to say, okay, we will remove it for you. The only thing we need to do is get on the shed haulers removal, so on their schedule, which is usually about 30 to 45 days.
Okay.
So it's completely at will.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. I'm
You're very
sorry I had to wait
welcome.
through the first
No,
half
that's
of the
okay.
meeting.
I was warned.
And do we have your contact information, or do we
I
go
know
through
Katrina
Yeah,
does.
and-
Yes. Yes. And the list that I passed around, that is a list of all of the organizations that we work with in Massachusetts and all the libraries that we work with. It was on white piece of paper. So feel free to, reach out to any one of those locations and get their opinion of our program. That's why we give those lists, so that you can either visit them, the ones that I listed, or any of them on that, on those pages. So if you need physical phone numbers, I'm happy to give them too.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're
It's
welcome.
really
Thank
a
you.
Fantastic organization.
Thank you. Okay, so next, we have Nick Valerie, is that right? And he's gonna talk to us about the, EV charger replacement project by East Coast Renewable Energy. So welcome, Nick.
Good afternoon, good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing today?
Good.
Well, thanks.
Excellent.
Thank you.
So my name's Nick Valori. The gentleman who had presented this to the town, his name's Tim Cullen. I'm the owner of the company, so I normally attend these events. Before I get into anything on the what I'm going to present, I like to actually open it up to the board and ask whatever questions you guys have, so I can address those questions first, and then I can get into all the background. So with that being stated, is there any questions as to what we're offering?
Yeah, so we had, we discussed this, I think, at the last meeting. I'm just looking through the minutes here, right? So it almost looks like it's too good to be true. I'll give you that. We have had a lot of challenges with our current system, and that's why we're looking very favorably on your project. Currently, we don't charge our patrons anything, right? And I think built into your model is almost like a cost structure to kind of offset the cost that we wouldn't be paying, but it's being kind of attributed to the users, right? So it's almost like a user fee. So whereas we're going from zero to having a fee and then a markup to kind of pay for that project, so that we don't incur the cost. Is that kind of accurate? That's the kind of way I understood it, or maybe you can clarify.
Yeah, so what you're talking about, and if I understand it correctly, is more of the performance-based model that we recommend.
Yeah.
So most charging stations require you to pay a annual or a monthly fee. That monthly fee or annual fee covers the credit card processing, the 24-hour customer service, which we can get into in a second, and then the Wi-Fi/cellular data that goes to the charging stations itself. So that performance basis is 5 cents a kilowatt hour. You can assess that to the EV driver.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Normally, what I recommend is if your cost of electricity, your all-in rate is, just using a round number, 25 cents. The cost for the performance base would be 5 cents. So if you're not looking to make any profit on these things, in this example, you would charge 30 cents a kilowatt hour for the consumer to charge their vehicle. With that being stated, I want everybody to understand that the cost to charge in your residential electric charge right now is right around 35 cents a kilowatt hour.
Mm-hmm.
So it would actually behoove the community to charge at the town as an amenity, because it's going to cost more to charge at their house if they have the availability of a charger.
Yeah.
And I think that, are we still under contract in Grafton for the aggregation? I think we were an aggregate of a few communities where it was
For the electrical rate.
the electrical rate. At first, it started at a really nice rate of like 9 or 10 cents, and then it's continually gone up. Do we know what that aggregate rate is?
So I don't know what that is, but the aggregate rate is on the supply portion. You still have your delivery portion.
Okay.
So the combination of both is right around 25 cents a kilowatt hour, I would assume, for the town.
Okay.
But so whatever we're paying for electricity, in your example is 25 cents per kilowatt, and then your company takes 5 cents add on.
We don't take 5 cents.
Okay.
My company, think about my company as a contractor. We're going to get all the permits, all the approvals, all the incentive for you. We're going to build it, install it, and then we're going to turn the keys over to you.
Yeah.
That cost of 5 cents is nothing more than administrative cost for what you're paying for your house to run the internet.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, if anybody owns a business, you guys know that there's a cost to you, to the business for a credit card swipe,
Sure.
okay? And then obviously there's a cost for admin to handle the 24-hour customer service. So that does not come to my company, that goes to the third-party supply, provider.
I do have a question. So
Yes.
one of the things we've talked a lot about is how we keep our library director from out in the weather trying to fix these. So like, at what point will you actually send someone physically out to address like a service concern if the virtual piece won't work?
That's a great question. Before I get into that direct question, I want everybody to understand, is the warranty on this equipment is a 2-year warranty. My company gives a 5-year warranty. Okay, so you have 5 years for the warranty. Now that warranty does not cover vandalism nor wear and tear. Okay, now to go into your question, if the charging station is not working for whatever reason, we will send people out to repair it. Okay, in the truth of anything, with dealing with a contractor of any sort, it's having to have time to get out there because other jobs are going on. Okay, I'm just going to be very clear with that. Time frame, a couple weeks to be clear, but I just can't predict what's happening in the future with a lot of stuff.
That sounds better than what we have now. So,
Okay.
I guess the follow-up question is like, is there a charge for coming out, right? So say like we've tried to press the reset button or whatever.
Someone
they
drives
tried
into
to
it,
do.
backs into it.
Yeah, like, do we get charged?
Of course, there's always going to be a labor charge, just like any kind of contractor coming out to your house. The light doesn't work, you're going to call an electrician, they're going to come over. If it's just hitting the reset, right, he's still going to charge something. You know, unfortunately, the day and age of labor being zero, it's just not there.
Yeah, and do you have the fee structure for that?
Unfortunately, the fee structure is going to be dependent upon what the labor cost is at that current time. So it's all labor cost at that point in time.
Yes, so we need to figure out how to budget for something like that.
Yeah.
So that it doesn't have to come to this board every time, support and maintenance is required. That would be
So-
helpful to have, like, maybe you could give us some examples of other installations that you've done, in terms of how often they might need support and maintenance,
I mean, if someone there, it looks like the cost is 26,000 for 2 units.
That's for the grant.
No. The incentive, okay, depending upon, so let me just back up for a second. Both National Grid and the state of Massachusetts have an incentive.
Yep.
Okay. Those incentives, if you've used a portion of the incentive, it comes off of what is available. So the initial incentive through the state is up to $50,000. Okay, so a lot's going to be determined on what incentive, if any, that you've used. Okay, the majority of the cost of installing charging stations is actually the infrastructure. Because your infrastructure is there, which is doing what they call a rip and replace, which is buying the new equipment, installing it, and going from there. To give you a close to home example, Southbridge Town Hall, they had already used some of the incentive. They only had $20,000 left of the incentive. Another installer went in and said that we can do what you're asking for, which was rip and replace 3 single port charging stations and install another charging station altogether. They wanted $25,000, which would have been $5,000 out of pocket for the town. They couldn't do it. Tim Cullen, who came to the town, he went to the town of Southbridge, came back to me, and I says, yes, we can do it for those numbers, and replaced everything. So the actual dollar amount is going to depend upon what you have. And what I briefly saw when I walked in here, kind of quickly because I couldn't figure out where I was, it took me over another location of the town. You have all wall-mounted charging stations. They're not on pedestals.
Well, no, so our station, our charging stations
The
are
ones
at
that
the
the
library,
libraries are pulling.
not the ones.
Okay, again, I just saw what I
He's
was
just-
trying to explain what I saw coming in here,
Yes.
so I apologize.
But what you're saying is the town has probably used up some of their incentive putting some of these other.
Could
things
have.
on. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
could
So we'll
have,
have to find that out.
yes.
I guess the root of my question was if someone down the road after we have it installed runs over the thing, it's going to cost us $13,000 to replace one of them.
But not exactly, because that's gonna be covered with your insurance on the property,
Okay.
okay? If somebody vandalizes, again, covers for insurance. Wear and tear items, somebody rips something out, okay, then that's, not, that's again vandalism,
Right.
all right?
But the maximum we would probably pay would be around 13K per unit.
I would say
if we-
yes. Well,
I was just trying to get a
so
ballpark.
to give you a better answer, okay, when we submit for a brand new install, we're right around $12,000 to $13,000 all in
Yep.
for one port. So we can do one port, infrastructure, installation, and equipment. And the equipment we're installing is a 50 amp smart charger. Okay. A lot of the chargers out there that others, I don't think are really doing anymore, but over the last 6 months, most people have converted to the 50 amp. We've been doing the 50 amp for about a year now. They were doing 40 amps.
So but you said that because we already have the infrastructure, it would not be 13,000 because.
Correct.
You're just putting a new piece of equipment, connecting it.
Correct. At the end of the day, the dollar amount really shouldn't be a big factor if you haven't used the incentive yet.
Okay.
Okay. So it's really dependent upon what incentive, if you even used an incentive in this example to the library. Okay.
Yep.
And that's something we would be able to figure out, or actually look into it for you. But if you have the information as to what incentive you used, it's always easier because getting things from
Yeah, we'd have to
other
ask the
people
town
that's kind of
administrator.
filed away, it's kind of tough to get.
Have you installed any of the other systems in Grafton?
No.
No. Okay.
I had a question, and it's for Katrina. So, I think we may have asked Tom this when he was director. So, all right, so we stand to be on the hook for something, some expenses depending on what the service needs are. However, it was my understanding, and I was confused about this, that the revenue that's generated actually goes into the general fund of the town. It doesn't go into the library's coffers. Am I correct?
The revenue that's generated from the EV charger.
Yes. That I
I
thought
don't
that
know.
was, and there was a reason why that I think it was explained that somehow that actually I don't recall the reason, but it I didn't fully understand how everything came out in the wash, but it seemingly did.
I thought ours were free, like the ones at the library. I don't charge, I don't know, but I thought we didn't charge at the library.
Currently correct.
Currently, but did we ever? I thought we did at one point.
I
No.
don't think
I don't
so.
remember.
All right. So
Which essentially means it's costing the town.
Yeah.
right.
I also know that we don't pay an electric bill. The town covers the cost.
Okay, so that's okay. So that was, I think, that was, I think how it was explained that anything that, if there were a charge, then maybe it was a hypothetical that if there were a charge, that the town would want it because they give us freebie on the electric, and that allegedly comes out in the wash if we were to charge.
Do they charge for any of the EV chargers in town?
I am not
I thought they
sure.
did because I remember thinking, oh, it's
You think
like
everyone
everybody would come to the library, but ours are always broken, so that's why they don't come.
Doug, may I just
Yeah.
comment on something that Katrina said? So, we don't pay an electric bill. I thought years ago, we were getting a credit from National Grid for something, maybe either being overcharged, and so right. So I feel like we were
We're
paying
s-
electric bill.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We're still negative $95,000 on our electric bill.
Okay. So at some point we will start
The
to
town
incur
took
that
it over,
electric
yeah.
cost. Oh, they did? So the town does, they will in perpetuity pay the electric bill. Is that your understanding?
am not sure.
Yeah, because
We should check.
yeah, it used to be that we did pay it, but we had a credit.
Okay.
That's
So-
why the lights are always on.
Yeah.
So real quick, in regards to the out-of-pocket cost that may incur, okay, if something breaks, okay, for the labor cost. If you do charge a little bit above what the cost to charge is, as Roger,
Yeah.
as Roger has mentioned, I would imagine you can just set up a slush fund, okay? If you can work it with the town, again, however it works. But that's normally
I
what
see.
people work, you know, what I mean, I don't look at these charging stations as a huge revenue generator. It's a nice amenity for the town. I have 2 chargers at my house, and these 50 amps, you know, charge a heck of a lot faster. So they should get good use. Whether it's just
Do you
at
know
the
what we
library.
currently have?
Please?
Do you know what we currently have?
I don't.
Okay.
If I was to take an educated guess, it's probably a 30 amp charger, if not older, smaller.
So are you looking to put in 2 units and it's 4, is it 1 station and 2 pumps, or is it 2 stations and 4 pumps? Is 2,
I can't justify, well, you gotta tell me what you have there. Do you have 2, what do you have there now?
Well, the picture shows
The-
one post with 2.
and that's what we have
outlets.
there now, 1 on each side, right? That 1 tower can charge 2
Two,
cars.
yeah.
So I can do that. You
Alright,
can either do a dual port, so 1 charger with 2 ports on each side, or I can do a single port. So it's all dependent upon however you currently have it set up.
We have 2 dual ports.
Perfect, so that we
So
can
we
do
have 4
that, so
parking
like
spots.
We have 4.
Yeah.
outside you have single ports. So I can just rip
Oh.
these out and just put a single port in there.
So now these are these are described as accessible charging stations. I think you'd mentioned. I think it might be in
Handicapped accessible.
the handicapped.
They have to, the incentive requires at least 1 to be ADA compliant.
All right. So
Okay.
are you talking about? Does that now include? And I thought it did. I don't know whether it's a Mass Architectural Board or an ADA compliance where new installations. I don't know if this counts as new or replacement. That you have to have at least 1 accessible parking space with an access aisle in the same way that we see all the other accessible
Well, we
parking
do,
spots.
Roger, because you think about where those 4 are, right? The one on the far right would be accessible, I believe.
Is it? Does
It's
it
right
have
in
an
the
access?
front. Yeah, I think it is.
I
So-
think that's, I mean, it's an important thing to know, but I don't think that's important for our conversation tonight.
No, no.
It's
I
definitely important.
well, I think if we're going to eventually possibly agree on this and replace them, we have to be compliant with what the current law is regarding the actual.
Yeah,
s-
Roger,
parking
let me just be very clear how
Sure.
how it works.
Yep.
Is if you want to move forward, okay, you're gonna sign the non-binding documents that I think you have in front of you.
Right.
Okay, there's a couple other documents we'll need, okay, very simple documents. Once we get it, then we come over and we do a site visit. If there's a question which is pertained to the ADA compliance, we'll reach out to the, I'm gonna use the, ADA department of the state and let them know if that complies, what we need to do, and so forth and so on. If it blows up and the ADA authority says that we can't do this or whatever it is, or it's not grandfathered in,
Right.
then we just let you know and we say we can't do it, or this is, we need the cost
Right.
to make it ADA compliant.
Right.
At which point in time, if there is a cost, you
Right.
guys have the right to say, we're not interested in leaving it
Right.
alone.
And I would just mention that our town's ADA coordinator is our inspector of buildings, Tracy Sharkey. So I would, any site visits, I would recommend including her.
Yeah. So if you guys elect to move forward, and again,
Mm-hmm.
everything we're talking about today is non-binding, it doesn't become binding until the incentive program approves everything. You sign off on the incentive program documents, you send it back to us, we send it in for you. Once they stamp it that everything is good, now all of a sudden things become binding. Once things become binding, now we buy the equipment, which normally takes about 3 months to get in, 3 weeks to get in, and then we can install right after that.
So this agreement that we have is just really approving you to go on to the next step.
Let me just
Do that
talk
next-
to, let me just talk to you what that set of documents is. It is basically, whoever has purchased a house in the, last 20 years it is a good faith estimate. Okay? This is just something that you're attesting that my mortgage documents are correct and we want to send it to the underwriting to get it approved. That's exactly what this is. You're attesting, yes, we're interested in putting charging stations at this location, these number of chargers. We're going to come out and we're going to do an appraisal on the house, which is a site visit. Once the site visit comes back, as long as it matches and we can do everything that we talked about here, which is zero out of pocket, we then submit it to the incentive for the final approval, if you would.
Okay.
So just
Any other questions?
yeah, one question, and maybe you can't answer this, but is there an opportunity for us to maintain a zero cost charging station at the library with this current proposal?
The answer to the question is yes, but you'll have to pay an annual fee or a monthly fee.
Okay.
Okay, so you can continue to offer $0 to charge.
Yep.
Okay. The one out-of-pocket expense that is essentially associated with this, or the two out-of-pocket is going to be the cost of electricity, which you're not paying.
Yep.
Okay. And then what I recommend is the performance basis. The reason why I recommend the performance basis is why do you want to pay for something if people aren't using it? But I apologize, Miss, what is your first name?
Carrie.
As Carrie would mention, that the charging stations would be used if they were working. Okay? So the performance basis probably would work out best for you guys anyways, but if you want to offer it for no money out of pocket, then the out of pocket cost would be an annual or a monthly fee.
So so let's say the annual fee is, I'm going to throw out a small number, $1,000 a year, right? But to your point, maybe people don't use it, and we don't even incur a $1,000 cost for a year. So we're better off just paying the 5 cents, you know.
Exactly. And let's take it
based
to
on
the next
usage.
level.
Sure.
If it cost to charge at home 35 cents,
Yeah.
because that's the electric cost. If it cost other places 30 cents to charge, if you're charging 5 cents,
That's a benefit.
right, it's not a big deal.
I see.
You know what I mean?
But we're not charging we're not, 5 cents is not zero because we're paying for the electricity. I mean, the town is paying for the electricity.
Uh-huh.
Right?
You guys are telling me the town's paying for the electricity. I'm just
Right.
trying to address this question.
Yeah.
If you want to
I
continue
mean, you're talking about
to do
you
it-
as in the library you. is
Yeah,
what
so
you're saying.
if-
But
if
the
you
town,
don't-
I mean, we're still paying the electricity.
Right, but I think people need to sign up for an AMP Up account and have a credit card available, even though we're not charging the credit card.
Yeah.
Right. So in this case, we're not asking them for anything different than we're already asking them
Correct.
on the current chargers, because it would be a 5 cent fee or
No, it's 5 cents per kilowatt hour.
yes,
Per
yes.
kilowatt.
That's
I just want to be very clear. It's not
How many
5 cents.
kilowatt
Yes.
hours does it, when you charge a car, like the average car, how many kilowatt hours is that?
I just had AI tell me.
Like 10?
What was the answer?
From like 10% to 100%, it'll take about 4.5 hours and 54 kilowatt hours. So that
that's-
times 5, right?
It's like a couple bucks.
Yeah. So, yeah. So $2.50
Okay.
or something.
So it's very minimal.
I think you've answered all our questions. I think from our perspective, it's just getting a little details on, like, just outlining the actual costs and the electricity stuff, and then it seems like a very simple next step. But
And what are the local towns? Any adjacent towns to Worcester that you've got these things hooked up?
Hooked up, the answer is no. Unfortunately, the incentive program is a little slow.
Okay.
So the reason why Southbridge moved so quickly is that it was already approved. So we went in like the knight in shining armor and said, you don't have to do it for $5,000 out of pocket. We'll do it. We can take care of it for you for free.
Okay.
So the transition was nice and easy.
are you?
So,
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
so the answer to your question is nobody else has been approved. The deals that we have submitted, nobody else has been approved.
Okay.
Okay.
And the like they all go on the same app. Like when people are looking for chargers. This
Yeah,
would
so
just by
one
default
of the other benefits of the performance basis, or even the annual fee with the charging stations that we install, which nobody asked, I'm gonna bring it up now. I recommend the Autel charging stations. Whatever charging stations you guys want, we can essentially install. I think Autel's the best out there, in my opinion. So by working with them, the guts of the hotel equipment is done by a company called Ready. They're out of I think Michigan, so U.S. based company. One of the, I don't want to say claims to fame that they do, but they also put your charging stations on, I use the word, the majority of the EV apps.
Yeah.
I like to say they're on all of them, but there's always different ones popping up, and I don't want to, tell you it's on all of them, and then somebody says, hey, I'm on this app, and it's not on there. So it is on the majority of the EV apps out there.
Great. Any final questions for Nick?
Longer days means more time to show off.
So the only thing I'm going to mention is if you guys, if the board is interested, I would recommend kind of moving a little bit faster because when the incentive money is gone, it is gone. Okay? Where things are non-binding and it sounds like this is something you do want to move forward, but there's a couple, things you have to figure out. My recommendation, and again, I'm not trying to sound like a pushy sales guy here, but my recommendation is to sign the non-binding document, provide us with the other supporting documents that are needed so we can get out and do the site visit and then submit for the incentive. And I can tell you that we are probably 6 to 9 months in waiting for the incentive to be approved. The good thing is National Grid did recently open up their incentive and they are claiming that they are moving a little bit faster.
So one last question, Nick. Are you in front of us tonight, having been asked to come here through having approached our town administrator select board's office?
I will answer the question in two ways.
Okay.
One, I can't be 100% sure of that. Tim Cullen had said that, can you present to the library board or whatever
Okay.
it was? And I said, sure, didn't understand what was going on.
Okay.
But on the other note, I do believe that we got trickled down here that we needed the formal approval from the library board to take it to the rest of the town. So I'm not overly sure.
And who is Tim Cullen? I'm sorry.
Tim Cullen's one of my sales reps.
Oh, from your, okay. From
Yes.
your company. Okay.
So Tim Cullen is local. He lives in Sutton.
All right.
Great.
And yeah, because I think that just so the left hand knows what the right hand is doing, for us, I guess through you, Katrina, to touch base with, I guess, Evan or William to see, I'm sure the town is, there's a lot of electrical suppliers or other, whether you call it solar or EV stations that come before municipalities. And I just want to make sure we're not, duplicating efforts and that there may not be something already in play. So
This was arranged by William.
it was. Okay,
yeah.
then you answer
Yeah.
my question. Okay.
I mean, I think as a board and as the library director, I mean, they're not happy with the current solution. So
Okay.
we're certainly looking for another solution. All right. Well, thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
I have business cards if you guys want them. If not, I think you have all my contact information. So
Yes.
We would direct probably all questions
All right,
to
perfect.
Katrina.
thank you very much. Any questions, please direct them to Katrina and then I can address them fairly quickly, okay?
All right.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
thank you.
Thank you. For the benefit of the board, we do pay AMP up $1,000 a year, which is our current EV charger company. So,
Yeah.
and that's for connection access.
And so that's part of our budget.
That's part of our budget.
And it's, is it the same for FY27? Is that what I'm saying? Probably, I don't know.
Well, that's what you
I haven't
submitted.
received a bill yet.
Stop paying for the
Is the is the board interested in further discussing this, or should we move on?
I think that I would be interested in, unless we want to see other proposals, that we should approve the good faith estimate tonight, so that we can move forward with this. So we've discussed this at the last meeting, and we had a lot of questions, and tonight was the question guy,
Okay, that was
Yeah.
your last month. Yeah.
yeah, so, I mean, I was looking through the minutes too, and there was a bit of discussion about it. So, this came from, we talked about, that Evan, did they do the install here?
No.
He said no, but they're not happy with the current provider, right? So I guess they want us to check out
Who's they?
this, or William, right? Did you say
No,
that?
we're not. I said we're not. Like the library hasn't been happy with
Yeah.
Yeah.
our supply, but Amp Up is not all over Grafton either.
No, it's not. So what happened was your question was perfect. Yes, they did send a sales rep to the town and say, "Hey, we have this program. We use the state incentive. It would be of no cost to you." And that happened hours before I had a meeting with William to ask him about the broken Amp Up chargers. And he was like, perfect timing. This guy just came in. Let me contact them and get more information about their program. So William had been communicating with these guys about the program, about the project, about all of the details. It's my understanding that the town has not used the incentive that he is talking about, so we should be able to get everything covered
Great.
totally. Because I don't, like, William didn't say that they had used any of the incentive, and he told me he's like, I don't think that we did that.
But we don't have any experience with this company. The town does not have any experience with this company.
Correct.
In the incentive grant, I would want to know what, I guess, the sunset provision is. Is it provided by the state of Mass, or is it
He said
Sounds
it was a
like it was.
combination
My
of
understanding is
National
both.
Grid and- Yeah, it's full.
federal and Mass? And that,
Massachusetts and National Grid. He said it's
National
up to
Grid.
50,000 split between the two.
Correct.
I mean, I don't see, to your point, Aaron, I don't see any negative with proceeding with it, right?
Yeah, the big question I had is it's a black box to me because I don't know enough about EV chargers, and I hadn't heard of Autel before. I tried to do a little bit of research on it, but so I can't really speak to the technology. I mean, I think just doing some quick numbers of 50 amp charger will charge your car in about 4.5 to 7.5 hours, and that's what people tend to do is they'll leave their car kind of charging overnight at the library, which is okay. But beyond that, I mean, he said he'll install whatever we want, but maybe he's getting a kickback from Autel or something to install, because he's a reseller or
Right, he's a reseller.
something, right? So that's what they proposed. But I wouldn't know an alternative, so I'd have to, they do have a 5-year warranty, and do we know what kind of technology supports the Autel? Because that's just the hardware. The software, is Amp Up, right? That we currently have. That's the software piece, and whether,
Well, he did say, that when I asked that question, he said
Yeah.
that they participate in the majority of the apps that
oh, okay,
people look.
good.
Not all of them, but the majority of them.
Yeah. So,
In reality, right, I mean, our goal would be to service Grafton primarily, and, over time, people are going to figure it out, but.
yeah. So
we
the
still
question
would be
for
on the app.
this board is, where I take him at his word and say, well, who knows when this incentive is going to dry up? I would say you got to do this now. That was a little salesy. If you had picked up on that,
right?
because but are we in an emergency situation where we would want to act sooner than later?
We are. I mean, they're in horrible shape. It's been like a very bad experience, and I mean, this is.
I guess the question is,
Yeah.
do we approve this, whatever he keeps calling this thing,
It's,
agreement to
Proposal?
proceed?
Yeah.
Or do we collect more information and then at our next meeting, we have all that information and we're
Can we
excited
do
to go
both?
forward?
Yeah,
Sorry.
I think we could.
Can we do both? That while we proceed, this is not commitment. It's
Yes.
a good faith estimate.
It is, it's just a good
And we
faith.
can
estimate.
parallelly, okay, from my point of view, I'm still not clear what is the cost of ownership.
Yeah.
I think we need to figure that out, and are there any alternatives to this? But I think we can at least kickstart this conversation with them so they can go figure out what homework they need to do and get back to us, so we have 2 different data points by then.
This agreement,
2 data
the
points.
One is what he's going to come back and say it's going to take 9 months for an approval, and here is what it is, incentive you have, you don't have, here's a cost.
Yeah.
While we can figure out what is the cost of ownership and maybe bake this into the model.
Okay.
So I just wanted to point out, in the document that they provided, there is at the bottom it says agreement to proceed. Customer site host agrees to proceed with the final proposal for the scope of work at the address exclusively with EVSE
Yes.
Solutions.
It is interesting.
Upon completion, EVSE will provide site hosts with submittal package for final approval. Site host grants EVSE Solutions the right to file rebate applications on their behalf. So this is locking us in.
It's much more of a commitment than he implied, yeah.
Would we be able to ask the town if the town can apply for the grant and saying we're looking to and like to start that process, right? Because what he explained is somehow they had the grant funding approved and then they were able to just come in and put it in. So is there an option where town applies for the grant funding and saying we'd like to use a portion of it for us to replace the EV things, and then while that's going on, we can finalize who we'd want to go with?
I think we should explore that.
Yeah,
Your
I
point
think,
is
I think
well
after
done.
reading this, my opinion is to hold off on signing this agreement.
Thank you, Carrie, for pointing that out. I looked at that and I questioned that whole sentence, about, locking anyone else out, and to your point, and other folks who've spoken here about, yeah, who knows how long it's going to take. So we sign this and then something better comes along and we're still waiting for these guys. 6 months from now, we're still locked in.
So I don't disagree with, not approving it, for the good faith estimate tonight. But what is the action item here if we don't do that?
I think it's that if Katrina can take it back to the town to see if we can start applying for that grant without having a vendor to do it, to start that process. And then I think the other things we were looking at was like really understanding the total cost of ownership and just seeing if we wanted to get a second opinion. Because I think there's a couple things we'd have to like also finalize, right? Would we want to take an approach where we charge an extra cents per one to cover any labor, and do we manage it in a way where we increase that cost and to always keep an X dollars of amount in a fund to repair it, right? And then when we have that money in the fund, maybe we drop it down. Do we use the approach where we take $1,000 from our budget? My preference would be that we use that for all the other building maintenance stuff and build it into the specific program. But I think there's a lot around the pay and maintenance structure we'd want to have a good approach with before we voted.
And I'd like to hear the town's opinion on like what else are they looking at other EV vendors from the rest of the town?
I don't want this to stall either, but I'm
I'm
also
with you.
not looking to rush into it because, again, sometimes we meet once a month and we talk about the same things
The same thing,
month,
yeah.
month on end. We get the information we need, and then when do we make a decision, right? And what do we need to make a decision?
And
That's a very fair
I understand that point. And I agree with that. I would though ask or seek your opinion as to that last page of this agreement, the last page of the document. I'll compare it to what I would expect to see with my home heating oil contract, where I sign somewhere and then the vendor co-signs that they've received it in their agreement. This doesn't have any of that extra line or sign off by EVSE. That we're sending it to them dated. How do they receive it and document that they've received it and that they're in agreement with this? There's no section on this form that I would normally expect to see.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure it's something that the board should sign as opposed to the town signing, because if the town is paying for the electricity, it's really their kind of contract that they're signing. So
And-
that's just another question I would have for the next month.
I think that's a great question. Also, Katrina, maybe we can ask him if we can get a copy of a contract, right? Because this is like an initial scope of work, but it doesn't have outlined any of their any of the details of the contract. So to your point, I don't think this is the contract we would sign. This is just saying good faith.
is like we're committing to
as long
them.
as you can cover it, we're in, right? But I think we'd still want to see that contract to know some of those other points.
Okay.
Too.
So I think I have these 4 action items, right? Trying to understand the incentive grant, either what's left or what we could do if we do this separately, cost of ownership, what kind of fees we would need to either charge or collect, and then just doing diligence on the company itself.
Yeah, and he was reluctant to answer if we wanted to budget for the repair costs? You know, is there,
That's what I was trying to get. What's the maximum? If
yeah, was there an
Or even the
was there an
current rate.
example?
What's the
I
current
think
rate?
his answer was the maximum would be around 13 grand if someone ran it over and it was trashed.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay. Are those questions that I think you can take on, Katrina? Or are you going to want someone on the board to help?
I'll try.
I'm happy to like lean in on this with you. So if you want like a partner in
Yep.
crime as we're outlining some of it, I have zero expertise in EV, but I'm willing to like partner with you if you're looking for something.
There's always a chat GPT, Gemini.
Claude.
They make you way more
Can help
smart.
it out a good operating model.
Do you have an
to
ED?
ask you?
Okay.
There's nobody
Thank
on
you.
the
I
board
think we're
has
going to
any-
move on because we're already very late. We have
Requests, right?
150th anniversary celebration committee proposal.
So, scratch that. I think I saw an errant date somewhere that said that the library.
Oh yeah, we're not
Well,
150 years.
So our building is almost 100 years old, but the library itself could be, because we started with a little room in the, you know, so
So the original library was 1867. So our 150th anniversary was actually in 2017.
oh,
I hope you you
No.
celebrate it.
No, so we did have a party in 2017,
Okay, good.
We did.
and it was a 90-year
That was
celebration.
the 90th.
90s.
So next year we would be 100 years.
Oh, really?
Yes, in 2027.
To what?
the building, our
Yeah,
the
1927
Oh,
is the
the
building.
certified
building,
graphic
right?
common.
1927.
Okay. So that must
Okay.
be different than the.
Okay. So we'll talk about that, I guess, in the future.
Yeah.
All right.
So we should have some.
We
kind of
definitely should.
100.
We a couple of years ago we were talking about having a 100-year celebration for the building, but it's
Okay.
not the first library building on the town. It started off as a room, like in the.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Strategic planning.
A process I would like to get underway. Now that I've been here for almost 5 months, I think I'm ready to dive in. I would really like to have it's my goal to have a strategic plan in place by mid-December, if at all possible, because there's some potential grants that I would like to apply for, and we need a strategic plan and action plan in place with the state. So, as I understand it, you were looking at having consultants come in. The MBLC does, and the Mass Library System consultants provide a service where they will come and do some work with us, but not all of it, obviously.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get a sense for where the board was at in terms of approach.
That sounds great.
So I was thinking a little bit about this the other day, and I've spoken to, and hopefully Prabhu, you will help take this over as a representative of the board. We had talked about this, but I just want to add my 2 cents here. So talking to other trustee boards, some of them have taken it on as a trustee board subcommittee or item where they would develop the strategic plan and not have a consultant do it. They said sometimes, it's difficult and they wouldn't necessarily recommend it, but it can be done. Now, if you're saying that there's resources from the state, we could partner with those resources and really put a strategic plan together kind of on our own if we had the skill set, and the drive and the time to do something like that. Is that kind of where your head's at?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it
Katrina,
would
are those
certainly.
resources like someone who'd come in and help facilitate it still, so
Yeah.
it's not on the board? So we did like a subcommittee who could maybe meet a little more regularly than this to help make it move faster, and then the state would provide the consultants, is what it sounds like.
To a degree. So they won't provide the full. It really depends on what we're doing. So I have experience developing surveys, so I'm happy to do that and get that out to the community. In terms of focus groups, they'll send out representatives or consultants who can run maybe not every focus group that we're interested in running, but they'll do one for the staff, or they'll go to the schools, or they'll do a couple of in-house focus groups. So It's really how the committee wants to use those resources and then what we can do aside from that.
Yeah, so the output would be something that we would produce, correct?
Correct.
As a board, the document, we would produce that in the end. Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
So the planning board did that, the 20-year plan, right? So we were involved in that. Planning board, I think with Bob Hassinger being on the CMRPC, there were lots of credits because he was also chair. So I thought the town had a lot of access to not just getting an advisor from CMRPC. They facilitated a lot more, and there was a lot more actionable inputs plus deliverables that they provided. So if we can check on that piece, I think that will be one of the options. I think state does put aside some funding for these kinds of initiatives as whatever they do, and if we have access to some kind of hours from, I don't know, is there a CMRPC equivalent for mass libraries, and we can dip into that pool and get some past reference points, right? We are not looking at the full-blown solution to be created for Grafton.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense because we had, Aaron and I had talked to a consulting company that would charge a lot of money to come up with a plan, and I mean we have a beautiful new library. Like we need a strategic plan, but I think trying to be cost effective and take advantage of the resources, and then maybe down the road, something like that's a more costly one.
Timely.
Yeah.
I think
Timely.
Timely is
and-
going to be the important piece to this. So
Yeah, and to
if we don't think
create-
we have the time,
that's what I was going to ask.
Right.
Is like,
Do
do we
this.
have as a board? Do we have people that can commit time to do that?
or do we need to pay someone?
Right.
Yeah.
I'll volunteer, right? Being in person for conversations is the difficult part, but I think from a commitment, I do have a lot of interest in this. I can work on this. Before we get to a subcommittee, there is some groundwork we can do, and we can have regular updates at the board meeting to say, here is a target, here are things that we're proceeding, and here is a potential ETA for the next step of actions that the board needs to make.
So is it sounding like, forever, then you're suggesting for the next board meeting, you'd have like an action plan and a little more deal?
Right.
And like, we could say like, is that timeline and resources something this group can commit to?
But so you can commit to doing that for our next meeting.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Assuming I can have at least some conversation with you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I know we have obviously we have the previous strategic plan. It would be good to find that document and distribute that to the board too.
It's right there on the website.
Yeah, we do have access to it.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, that'd be great.
All in favor? Sorry, Chair, I didn't mean.
No, I don't think we need to
Thank
do
you.
any
Thank
kind
you
of
for taking
subcommittee
that
at
on.
this
I
point.
appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. I think there's obviously some side benefits for having the board, participate and contribute to that as well, right? Of course.
Yep.
And
Okay.
that's really exciting that you have some potential grants.
Yes.
We'll see.
All right. Anything else with the strategic plan? No. All right. Moving on. Walkabout. We'll skip over.
Just for the walkabout, so I sent pictures about the granite that was chipped in the parking lot. I don't think I think that was the only negative thing that I found, but
I saw that. Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Director's report.
Great. So I think the only thing that I had to add to this was under personnel and staffing. Within the last couple of days, I had a staff member give their notice. So we are going to be hiring for a part-time staff in the near future. I don't want to name names or positions because I want to give them the space to make the announcement to everybody, but just a heads up on the board for that. Any questions on the?
Yes.
Not on that.
No, I mean, it's
On the
great
report.
that I always I'm a data person, so I always like the numbers. It's great to see the numbers increasing year over year. And I'm glad that you presented that data to the finance committee as well, so they can actually see, like, even if the numbers were staying flat, right, it's still an amazing resource that a lot of people use in town.
Yes.
And what a remarkable number, 119 events in February, which is a short month, so like, I think that speaks a lot. And personally, we were able to attend the children's sign language class, and that was like such a meaningful like developmental opportunity that like we use all the time now. So
Excellent.
just some really great stuff coming up.
Thank you.
I think it is just shocking that the digital downloads are down so substantially like that, especially with the snow days. You would think that, you know, that.
Oh, they're up.
They doubled.
No,
They
they
doubled.
doubled. I thought.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm reading
Or
it.
they-
I read it backwards. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Mac.
I think it was the other thing, right? The,
Okay.
the-
I'm sorry.
The
I'm
hard
always
books,
I'm used to reading right to left, and I transposed.
Sorry.
the hard books went down a little bit, like the physical books.
Nope,
Not-
no,
not
that,
a lot.
even
No,
that
they
went up.
They went up.
Oh, I thought
Yeah,
they went
no.
down.
So okay, so duly noted. Next time.
So the library, the only thing that went down was library cards, but and
Oh,
then
yeah,
total
everything else.
and visits went down, but we
Visits
had
was
three
what I was
snow-
thinking about.
And it's
Yep.
a short month too,
Yeah.
so like
Yep.
when you think about the days.
And we
3
had
days
3
ago.
full snow day
Yeah.
cancellations this month as well. So, and we
Yep.
canceled 12 events over those 3 days. Yeah.
Okay.
That's great.
was
Like
rough.
I totally like the left and the right thing. Like because financials, like it's always left to right, so I didn't read it.
Sorry. I will fix that for next time.
Any
I'm
other
sorry.
questions on the?
I do. I had
Yep. Go ahead.
two questions, but they're related. So, and I'll reverse this. On the second page, under budget and finance, thank you for presenting in front of Finance Committee and for those who attended. As far as the difficulties we will face should the town not pass an override, and but going back to the first personnel and staffing updates, that first bullet point about the union negotiations. So the town and library union began negotiations on a new contract this month. Negotiations are scheduled to continue into April. How do we know what we can afford when the override vote isn't until May? So it just seems like it would be premature to end.
But
That's
it's
beyond
not
our-
Katrina. Yeah, it's not.
That's
us.
beyond the
Yeah.
purview of this board, anyways. Right?
Yeah, so the library, so you, all right,
That's-
yeah, union,
yeah.
union negotiations would be private anyway, so we wouldn't know about that, so, I just question scheduled to continue until April. And that's a month before,
It's when their contract is up. I think they.
is
have
it
to do
April? Oh, I
Well,
thought it was,
well, you have to do it in advance of when it's expired.
All right.
So
Yeah, the contract expires June 30th. And so they begin negotiations a few months ahead of time so that they can.
so, all right, so I'm just hoping that I trust that those negotiations will include contingencies that are based on the outcome
they
of the.
I don't think they're going to worry about that at all.
That's not.
They're negotiating their compensation contracts. They're going to.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's beyond the
All right.
purview of this
Yeah.
board. So,
And
what was your
thank you,
second one?
Katrina, for managing that
No,
through that process. So let us know.
It's a
Thank you.
pleasure.
Yeah, all right. I'm just saying that it just seems early, a month early than we know how much what the fallout could be. And
That's why we have to vote for the override.
What was your second question?
the use of, about the use of state aid and trust funds, and this may be a question to tackle in another meeting regarding a historic, review of the history of the library in different branches and whether we still have oversight of every single fund that any branch of the library in town ever
I
had.
think she provided that, right? Didn't you
Did-
provide the?
I have that, but you were talking about what Skip mentioned.
Which, yeah,
Yeah, so Skip, he's a trustee for the Nelson Memorial Library.
and he's a finance committee member.
Yeah, so his argument was that we haven't been spending any of the trusts, so I spoke to the finance committee and said that we have, we have, because he said in the past 20 years, so
We have.
Yeah, we have
so
absolutely.
we have. And Mary Loria mentioned that, we had about 75,000 that we could spend, but that was all that was available to us. And I emphasized to the finance committee that when we have funding requests that come to the board, we tend to look at state aid first, right? And unless there's, because those trusts are entrusted to us, to the library, from, you know, people who want to give to the library. So we only really dip into that for extenuating circumstances or projects that we feel are really appropriate for the library, right? Not to pay our bills,
Yeah.
you know.
And Katrina gave us it has a weird name, Doc 5, but like Katrina gave us
Yeah,
the
I'm looking
funds,
at
so
that now.
we have it in our packet.
Okay.
Yeah. But,
All right.
so,
But,
so sorry, to Skip's point was that we may have like book purchasing, trusts for like the South Grafton Library that may be tied up in probate court or something to that effect. So for future meetings, I think we need to take a good look at our trusts and make sure that we have control over everything that's available to us.
Yeah, because some of these, look, it says FB Goddard, FB Fowler, so FB4, so it's hard to know exactly what those
Yeah.
are, right?
Are we able to like?
But
get
we
it
have
offline?
all that information for the trust. I can dig that up.
Yeah, thank you.
You know you're
And
offline.
sorry, and that's not to say that the board shouldn't spend some of these trusts, right? Even if there's a couple $1,000s, if we want to have a program for some children's books, and we want to spend the trust,
Yeah.
because some of them have, what's the right word? You know, it defines what the money can be spent on.
Encumbered.
Some of
Yeah,
them
some
are
of them are
actually
encumbered.
Some of them are actually for children's books and stuff like that. So we can
Yes.
spend those. So maybe
Very good.
Katrina and I can go through them and present just an overview of the trusts at one of the upcoming meetings.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the director's report? All right. Let's see, what's next? Public input? No public input. Next policy committee is April 14th. April 1st. Friends is on April 14th.
Thank you.
I did notice that the next trustee meeting is April 22nd, which is in the middle of April vacation week. It's an issue for me?
I'll actually be around this time, but
Me too.
but if we want to move it, we can move it.
I would like to move it.
I'd like to move it.
Okay.
Good, I'm not the only one. I would suggest the easiest thing would just be to push it to the following week,
Okay.
which is the
29th?
29th. The week before that is the 15th, which is kind of like tax day, but
I think because Prab is pulling together a strategic plan approach, we should probably give him the extra. week.
actually that's
Thank you, I
Take
appreciate
it away.
So does anyone have an issue with April 29th?
We have let's
Nope.
hope we have a room.
Well, if
Sure.
not, we could always do it via Zoom. if
Zoom,
we
And
That's
we have
true.
there's the other room upstairs that we're in.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay,
I think having everyone here is more important than.
so would that be, Christine, can you check to see if we can change next month's to April 29th and see if this room's available? Thank you. The town meeting is May 11th, as elected members were expected to attend, and there'll be good reasons to attend. So hope to see you there. And then town elections are the week after on May 19th.
And Katrina, you'll attend the town meeting.
I'll be there.
Yep.
Okay.
A long time ago, we used to always kind of sit in the same area. We haven't done that in a couple of years. Do we want to try to sit in the same area?
Yeah, bottom
Bottom left?
stage left.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
Well,
stage right, us, when you're walking in, down to the left.
Yeah.
Someone
Yeah,
wants to
I
send an
think that-
email with the location.
Yeah, we don't have to sit like next to each other, but in the same general area.
But can Katrina sit with us though? Because if you're not a
Resident.
of Grafton, you usually have to sit in the front right. But
We'll
I
wave
think-
at you.
It's a good question.
Yeah, call Don
well, it's an
Anderson
employee.
about that.
Oh, yeah, but you know what though? You're right. If someone's sitting in the audience, then if they throw their hand
Right.
up,
Yeah, they usually have a
The
section.
front
for-
right is usually where there's non-Grafton people.
But I thought there
we
was
had to count by hand for the library.
Because now we do the clicker.
We want.
because we didn't have enough
we want-
clickers.
yeah.
right.
That's
But I
awesome.
think it's. I don't recall whether or not there's. And this is a town moderator question. Don Anderson could answer that as far as how she would want. I know that historically that non-residents, there were times that if they were a non-resident but like a department head, they could sit with their boards and committees. for us and
Yeah,
making
because
that.
Jay, right? Does Jake live in Grafton? Dr. Cummings?
Yeah, he lives in
Yeah.
Grafton.
He lives
Yeah,
in
he lives in
Grafton. Okay, so that's.
But I-
Anyways, Katrina, you can ask where you can sit, where you're allowed to sit.
yeah.
I'm sure they'll tell me.
All right, any other discussions? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion?
That was a Prabhu second, right?
Yeah, probably seconded. I heard him. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, I declare the motion carried and meeting adjourned at 9:36.